Right, a free 5G phone. Experience all this and more on America's largest 5G network. So why wait? At T-Mobile, customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Just go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 or visit your local store to make the switch.
With AutoPay using debit or bank account plus taxes and fees, 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Free phones up to $300 off with 24 monthly bill credits and qualifying new line for well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Contact us before canceling entire account to continue remaining bill credits. Bill credits end if you pay off device early. See details at T-Mobile.com.
What if you could be debt-free by this January? Get rid of all that high-interest debt, pay off all your credit cards, consolidate everything into one lower payment? Hey, it's Dennis Cox. If you're ready to stop stressing over bills, you need to call Loan Pronto right now. With rates at their lowest in 2 years, this is the perfect chance to use your home's equity and save big going into the new year. Loan Pronto's got rates with APRs in the low 5s, and they're getting homeowners hundreds of thousands out of their home's equity. Homeowners who do this save on average $850 a month. Loan Pronto offers a ton of options, including total refis or their express equity line of credit. So call now. Get a rate quote in just minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call today and you won't make a house payment till 2025. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com, free rate quote now, 919-381-1760. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
From the Canes to the Panthers to all of the college sports in the Triangle, we cover it all on the Best of the Drive with Tim Donnelly podcast. Brought to you by Coach Pete at Capital Financial Advisory Group. Visit us at capitalfinancialusa.com.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com. WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs. You're listening to The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
3rd down, and we'll call it 9. They need their 35. From the shotgun, it's Glenn. Takes the snap. The Bulls rush 5. He's got some time to the right. Intercepted. Picked off Chandler Rivers. Down the sideline. 10-5. Touchdown. A pick 6. He did it last year in Tallahassee, and he did it again tonight.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. How are you? Look who's back.
I'm here.
Victoria's here.
I'm here. I went to the fair yesterday.
Did you?
Yes. Yesterday was the perfect day to go to the fair.
It was beautiful. It was a little warmer.
It was very warm.
So did you win a stuffed rhinoceros or anything?
Yes. Michael got me a stuffed penguin. Yes.
Whoa.
I know. He's
Love
very
that.
good at the shooting games.
Is he?
So,
Very good.
Yeah.
The Hurricanes stuffed a penguin last week.
I know.
On Friday.
It's in honor of that.
So very good. Did you ride any rides?
No.
Did you eat fried food?
All the fried food. Well, not all of it because it's expensive, but
Yeah, of course. What did you go for?
a staple, you got to get the cheese, the fried cheese.
Oh, the hot Wisconsin cheese.
Oh, yeah.
It's tremendous.
Oh, yeah. And then I like to go get
Do you do the cheddar bites or the other one?
I've tried all of them just to say that I've tried them all, but you got to go with the cheddar ones.
They're tremendous.
I know, and the jalapeno ranch.
Yeah, very good.
I know, or the marinara. I mean, really, you can't go wrong with it. And then, of course, I have to get the overpriced, overstuffed apples, at least one. We got more than one, but
the candied apples?
Yeah, well, it's not quite the candied one. It's the super duper monster ones that have all the stuff on them, all kinds of stuff.
I don't do those.
They're so good, and it takes 3 times for me to eat one of them, but they're delicious.
Okay, you don't do a giant turkey leg?
No, I do that if I go to the Ren Fest, though. That's usually the Renaissance Festival.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, those are good for big turkey legs.
Sure.
And beer.
And in big steins, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I've been doing these storm watches during the Hurricane 6-game road trip, which coincides with the State Fair.
Mm-hmm.
And every day I term it the fried food road trip.
Yes.
And
it's accurate.
so for each pregame show, I will change the fried food.
Ooh.
It was a deep fried Milky Way game in Edmonton. I have not determined what I'm going to call it tonight.
There's a lot of options. People keep frying different things, so
yes.
There's a lot of options.
I've become partial to, first of all, the deep-fried Three Musketeers is the best of all of those.
Ooh, I've not had that.
The simplest,
Yes.
because it becomes like the greatest donut you've ever had.
Yeah, ooh.
But the deep-fried Oreos
Yeah.
are very, very good.
Yeah, see.
But I need a
huge
deep-fried
Oreo
glass
person.
of cold milk after.
Yes,
so.
cold, not warm. We're
No,
not psychos.
yeah, exactly. Well, I'm glad you went to the fair. I don't know that I'm going to have a chance to get out there.
And despite what my friend Chip Patterson thinks.
He's mad.
I know. First of all,
you guys got to work that out.
I love Chip Patterson. Second of all, if there's another thing that your wife and I share other than spooky season, it's taking Wednesdays
off. My wife was off Wednesday yesterday as well.
Yes. So it's not a slight towards my good friend Chip Patterson. I love you.
I don't know, man. It didn't seem like it yesterday.
I know. We
Chip
need to just move him to a different day.
Chip was mad.
That'll
Chip
solve everything.
Very upset. All right, so you guys will have to
I know.
bury
I'll
the
have to
hatchet
text him.
somewhere else. All right, before we start, and I didn't want to, it's sad and it's happy at the same time. In a week where we're going to see Tua Tagovailoa come back and play, Grayson McCall yesterday announced his retirement from football. NC State's quarterback who came in through the transfer portal from Coastal Carolina last season saw his fourth year at Coastal cut short because of a very significant concussion. Took another hit a few games ago, and the concussion was serious enough where he decided it was time to, with a lot of help, obviously, decided it was time to stop playing.
It was a scary hit.
It wasn't wearing his helmet during the hit, but at contact. So there was a long statement that he released. I'm just kind of cutting and pasting through here because I don't want to read the entire thing. I have read it. As a young kid, I never wanted to watch cartoons or do things that most other kids were doing. As a young kid, I wanted to watch football and run around with the ball in my hand. This game has taken me places I never thought I would go and has shaped my family and I in ways I never imagined. Unfortunately, my dream has been cut just short. As you all know, I have battled injuries my whole career, but this is one that I cannot come back from. I have done everything I can to continue, but brain specialists, my family, and I have come to the conclusion that it is in my best interest to hang the cleats up. Again, there's a lot more to that letter, note to fans. If you want to, I just kind of cut it and pasted it off Pack Pride. If you want to go read that and read other commentary about Grayson McCall's decision, that'd be a great place to go. I think we talk to Corey tomorrow, right? We'll probably we'll bring this up.
Yeah.
But it's sad that he will not be able to pursue his dream. Now, I don't think that dream was going to take him to the NFL, but, he came here with designs on having a great, final year of college football, maybe the final year of competitive football he'll ever play. And unfortunately, he just didn't get very far because of the injury. So sad for him for that. But at the same time, I'm going to spin this in a positive way. And we don't know how the future holds because here is what we do know about significant concussions. They lead to other issues, which is why he's smart to stop playing. And we should never minimize concussions, ever. And I'm going to bring this up, but I am not trying to criticize Dave Doran here. When Doran was quoted after the injury as saying, thankfully it's just a concussion. There's no thankfully it's just a concussion. It is a serious injury. Just because people come back from it routinely, some people with the same hit don't even get them. But just because people can come back quickly. Remember Josh Allen probably got a concussion, They put him in protocol after the fact.
Right.
But he came back and finished the game. Tua, the first concussion he got, he stayed in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And he should not, definitely should not have.
No.
So these are serious injuries. They need to be taken seriously because of the damage. I mean, if we stopped calling them concussions and started calling them bruised brain, I think we would think about them a lot differently. Because that's what a concussion is. It's a bruise to the brain. Anyway, I wish Grayson McCall absolute joy in retirement.
Yeah, I think
right?
he wants to coach now, I think
Let
that
him
is.
coach,
so
man.
I think he'd be great at it.
Go past the love of football on to the next people.
Absolutely.
So good for him. Get out while you can. All right, we're going to start here. We're going to be here for like a minute. Joe Person's going to join us in just a couple of seconds.
Love him. Those questions, those hard-hitting questions.
Joe's great. Joe is
the
the best. Joe is absolutely the best.
Yeah.
We're going to ask him some hard-hitting questions just to make him feel comfortable. We're going to talk to Joe about Bryce Young is back. What? So he will be the starting quarterback this week. Andy Dalton, who arrived at practice yesterday in street clothes, what we didn't realize was he sprained his thumb in the car accident, so he will not play. Bryce Young will get the start in Denver on Sunday. We will talk about that. Also, as I pointed out a few minutes ago, the Carolina Hurricanes are in Calgary tonight, 9 o'clock, 9:08 opening faceoff. And if you want to catch the pregame show where I talk about state fair food and other matters, that'll be on at 8:30, Stormwatch right there. Hurricanes 3-2 on the season. Calgary is one of 4 teams in the NHL that has yet to lose in regulation. They are 5-0-1. And they are getting some spectacular performances across the board. There were a lot of people, most people didn't think Calgary was a playoff team. So this 5-0-1 start might simply be, hey, they're off to a good start. Philadelphia was off to a good start last year, didn't make the playoffs. So there's no guarantee. It has a long way to go. But Calgary's certainly playing very well. Hurricanes coming off the emotional and to some maybe surprising comeback win over Edmonton, 3-2 after trailing 2-0 after 2 periods. But the Hurricanes are also playing very, very well. I anticipate a good game tonight. Should be a lot of fun. The Hurricanes, for only the second time in, I'm trying to remember how long, but it's several years, trailed by at least 2 goals without having scored one, at least 2-0 or more, entering the third period, and just for the second time, they won a game. The first one was October 5th in 2019, where Jake Gardner's overtime goal beat Washington in Washington, and Tuesday, Sebastian Aho's goal beat Edmonton after trailing 2-0 after 2 periods. Shane Gostisbehere has 4 goals on the season, 3 of them on the power play. And Marty Necas and Sebastian Aho each have 6 points, 2 goals, and 4 assists. Necas coming off a 3-point game where he was spectacular third period and in overtime. I don't know that he wasn't great before then, but certainly third period and overtime, he was great. A man who is always great for at least 3 periods, maybe more. The Athletics, Carolina Panthers beat writer, the one and only Joe Person at Joseph Person on Twitter. He joins us. It's Bryce Young Day. How about that? He gets to start again, Joe.
Yeah, how about that? Not probably in the way anyone imagined.
No.
From Bryce to Dave Canales to Bryce's agent. And, it's just sort of another candle in the cake of what has been a pretty crazy Panthers season. Even finally, Dave Canales, the always upbeat Dave Canales, yesterday conceded. The question was, have you ever been through a season like this? And he finally said, you know what? No, I haven't. And I don't know that it's the weirdest. In fact, I'm certain it's not the weirdest, wackiest season of the Panthers I've ever covered, but it's starting to at least get in the conversation.
Joe Person is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. I've talked a lot about the way Dave handles it's really more post-game situations than anything else. It's almost like he's trying to protect the confidence and the psyches of these grown men professional football players when he shouldn't have to. Like, his fans don't want to hear about, we had a great week of practice after getting absolutely clowned by the Washington Commanders' second-string quarterback. And I just found the post-game coming out of that just absolutely, like, you completely missed the mark. Fans wanted to hear that you were mad, that you were frustrated, that you couldn't believe how bad it was, and we had a great week of practice. Do you think some of that is wearing on him too?
Yeah, I think fans are getting a little frustrated with that, and I think you and I have talked about this, Adam, but a lot of that is the Pete Carroll effect and the Pete Carroll influence. And obviously the difference being is Pete Carroll won a lot of football games
yes.
with the Seattle Seahawks. And so if Pete was Mr. Jolly and, rainbows and unicorns, at least he could fall back on the Legion of Doom secondary and all those, NFC West titles and what should have been 2 Super Bowl championships, Lombardi trophies in a row. Obviously, there's no stock built up yet for Dave Canales, and so I think sometimes that does ring a little hollow. But I don't know. We have said the main day-to-day reporting group has said, what's he going to be like if this season continues down this path that
right.
it seemingly is headed toward? And I don't know, he's still, again, even yesterday with that admission about this being a weird season, that was still pretty tame. Ron Rivera, as nice a human being as Ron Rivera is, he would sometimes just reach his limit and blow up in those press. I think fans want to see that. And by the way, I think a lot of them want to see it out of Bryce Young too.
Yes. There is a similarity between their emotions, between how they present themselves, that you would think they would be more in sync as a tandem. Hasn't yet worked out. I am curious. You said that nobody expected this, and you mentioned Bryce's agent. Are we do I read anything into that? Like, has there been push for from the agent side for maybe an exit from Carolina?
No, I don't think it's gotten to that point yet. I was just sort of talking in general, but yeah, certainly it's something to keep an eye on, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Bryce Young has a career and a reputation of his own to keep in mind. And listen, I'm not saying that, I'm not excusing a season plus 2 of mostly bad football from Bryce Young. I mean, let's be clear.
Right.
And so I think that is going to hurt any potential trade, first and foremost.
Sure.
Who wants him? Would anyone want him as a starter? It's hard to imagine, short of just an injury or 2 at someone's quarterback position. But we're at we're 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks now away from the trade deadline. I think that the Panthers are going to ask for a lot, and a lot of that's for optics because of what they gave up for Bryce Young. I don't think they can. I think it would be a really hard sell to the public and the sponsors and everyone else if they get, a conditional 5th round pick for Bryce Young after giving up the farm. And so I do think they'll be active over the next 12 days. I think, Deontay Johnson makes a whole lot of sense to and I know people are like, well, he's the only good receiver we have. Well, yeah, so what? I mean, so that's even almost more reason to get what you can get and maximize. We've already seen a lot of receivers go off the board. I mean, we know what his market likely the asking price will be, somewhere in that conditional fourth range, I would think.
Right.
And I think he's their most valuable chip. I mean, they're not going to trade Chuba Hubbard. They probably will try to trade Miles Sanders. But anyway, and if they get killed again at Denver, I would. And I'm Dan Morgan, I'm making just about everyone but a handful of guys. I mean, I'd put a tag or a price tag and ask people to make me an offer on Jadeveon Clowney.
Yep.
Because why do you need an edge, and 30-year-old edge rusher on a potentially 2-15 team?
Joe Person from The Athletic. You read my mind with all of these things. I actually said a few weeks ago that I would make a list of every asset that I had, and I would put it like, come shopping. The doors are open. A Black Friday special. Make me an offer for anything. Like, I would include J.C. Horn in that, but I get very militant about these things. I would make everybody available. You and I have talked enough about. I would have been trading Brian Burns 2 years ago. You and I talked about that. The only player I wouldn't have traded going even into this year was Derek Brown, because when you can find a defensive lineman of his quality, that's the guy you keep. But now he's hurt, and the value wouldn't be worth trading anyway for somebody who's not going to play this year. But everybody else on my team, and I absolutely mean that, would be available in a trade. Joe Person from The Athletic is joining us here in the Adam Gold Show. Does it change at all, though, if Bryce Young plays relatively well against Denver? If Bryce has a good game, and for a lot of people are rolling their eyes going, what do you mean if he has a good game? He's not going to have a good game. Probably not. But if he does it change their approach at the deadline?
Yeah, there's a fascinating question, and really the whole storyline to me is pretty intriguing because, as you said, Denver defense, I mean, they're third in the league overall. They're fifth against the pass. Yep. Vance Joseph has done a terrific job. It's going to be tough sledding. Like, they will make you earn every yard, and that would not seem to portend well for Bryce Young. But if he plays well, to me, here's a more interesting scenario. Or not that your question wasn't interesting.
That's fine.
But I'm dovetailing. If Bryce plays okay, and the defense happens to – the Denver Broncos, the Broncos offense is not a juggernaut.
No.
Bo Nix has not done some nice things, mostly with his legs, keeping plays alive. But let's say Jadeveon Clowney's back this week, Josie Jewell's back. And the defense plays well, and the Panthers win with a middling performance by Bryce Young. Then what does Dave Canales do, assuming Andy Dalton is healthy next week? Like, that is fascinating. And if he goes, I think if they win, you got to keep Bryce in the lineup regardless of how he plays. But if Canales does not, if we need any more proof that Dave Canales is not on the Bryce Young bandwagon, that will be it. And get ready for the trade deadline talk. Even if it doesn't happen at the deadline, it's going to be happening in that scenario.
Yeah, there is nothing that Dave Canales can do short of declaring Bryce Young his starting quarterback for the rest of his tenure as head coach that will convince me that he wants Bryce Young to be the quarterback, because he refused to answer any of your questions. We kept playing the follow-ups. He refuses to answer any questions about Bryce Young. The opportunity after Andy was really no good in the first half in Washington, and it was 27-0, to not even consider Bryce starting the second half would have been a great opportunity to get him, 4 or 5 series as opposed to the one. I mean, we didn't even try to pick up a first down series at the end of the game. I thought that was appalling, but to me it just cemented what I've thought is that Dave Canales doesn't want Bryce Young to be his quarterback, and that Andy Dalton would be the quarterback if he could grip the football.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and I think all of us, in retrospect, and I'm raising my own hand,
right?
If we had the narrative of quarterback whisperer, and Dave Canales was hired to fix Bryce Young,
right?
I mean, that lasted 2 games.
Yeah,
that is nuts.
And he was worse this year than he was last year.
I know, and it was just. I don't know if it was self-preservation on the part of Dave Canales. And listen, even prior to Dave Canales, there were people in the building that really were hoping to hire Brian Callahan before he went to Tennessee, and the Titans didn't let him leave the building. Well, he could have left the building if he had a better feeling, presumably, about Bryce Young than he did Will Levis.
Levis.
So we're getting into a whole nother conversation. But the point being is, Dave Canales, yes, he said the right things upon getting here. He had the track record turning around quarterbacks who had been struggling. But he was not part of those decisions. He wasn't part of the team that flew to every quarterback pro day, from C.J. Stroud to Levis to Bryce to Anthony Richardson. None of it. And so the closest tie he has to Bryce Young is through Dan Morgan, because Dan was here and he was the assistant GM under Fitterer. But I mean, short of a pretty just remarkable stretch of football from Bryce Young, which we haven't seen to this point, but we saw in college. Short of that, I can't imagine he's got a long future in Charlotte.
Joe Person. That's why you win awards. At Joseph Person on Twitter, from The Athletic, covers the Panthers. Thank you very much. Enjoy the 15 minutes or so that you get to watch practice today, and I'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it, man. Have a good week.
You too. Joe Person here from The Athletic on the Adam Gold Show. I said this at the beginning of the year, or after 2 games, when Bryce was removed as starting quarterback, that it's quite possible that Dave Canales decided he was going to prove that Bryce couldn't play in the league, or make it so that it was going to be difficult for him to prove that he could. I'm going to set the bar here for you. If you can't get over it, we're going to move on. Now, maybe that's a conspiracy, and I need a tinfoil hat. It's very possible. But there was a very unsuspectingly quick leash or quick hook on Bryce. Now, he was awful. He was bad in week 1, and he was somehow worse in week 2. They were arguably the 2 worst games he's played as a pro. But shouldn't he have gotten better from a year ago? All right, we'll excuse me. First day, new lips. We'll get more into that a little bit later on as Bryce Young makes his return. But when we come back, Brett McMurphy, America's college football reporter, this is what he calls himself, from the Action Network on the college football playoff and projecting the field. Could Army make it? Army. Next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Pack Therapy is in session thanks to First Horizon Bank. It's Tim Donnelly from 99.9 The Fan alongside legendary Wolfpack play caller Mike Glennon.
Every episode of Pack Therapy is your chance to get dialed in with inside information on your team.
We'll set you up for every Wolfpack game all season long.
And we'll break down every contest, what went right and what could have worked better.
Plus, special guests to keep Wolfpack hope alive.
Follow and subscribe to Pack Therapy wherever you discover your favorite podcasts or watch on YouTube.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Week 8 of the NFL starts tonight. Vikings in Los Angeles to take on the Rams. And something tells me that Minnesota is in a spot of bother tonight. Who knows? I did win a couple of bets yesterday, so you don't want to take my advice. I know. Don't worry about it. New customers, bet $5, win that bet, get $300 in bonus bets. if you win the bet. So pick something you can win. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. Week 8 is here. FanDuel is the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Here's Megan with Parkway Sleep Centers.
Are sleepless nights affecting your life? Parkway Sleep Health Centers can help. We've treated sleep disorders in the Triangle and beyond for over 20 years. We offer sleep studies, office visits, CPAP machines, supplies, and more. And our streamlined process allows us to see you sooner and usually saves hundreds of dollars.
End sleep problems. Live your best life. Experience the Parkway Sleep difference. Visit parkwaysleep.com and start your journey to better sleep today. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep. Sound health.
Experience our Raleigh tradition. Head to Amedio's Italian Restaurant, a family favorite for over 60 years. From weekly specials to their famous homemade recipes, Amedio's uses only the freshest ingredients. Need a touchdown for your tailgate? Amedio's offers delicious takeout, perfect for cheering on the Wolfpack. Or they can host your private party. Amedio's even caters. Amedio's Italian Restaurant, Raleigh's Taste of Italy since 1963. Visit AmediosRestaurant.com for details.
Hey, what are you doing up on the step stool?
About to clean these light fixtures. The whole family's coming over, and if there's even a speck of dust in the house, my abuela will find it.
Here, I got a Swiffer duster to help with that.
A Swiffer what?
A Swiffer duster. It has this cool extendable handle that reaches 6 feet to get high and low, with fluffy dusters that easily trap and lock dust.
So, no more step stool?
No more step stool.
Easily trap and lock dust from hard-to-reach places with the Swiffer Duster. Love it or your money back.
Hi, this is Mike Maniscalco. Do you want to increase the value of your home and decrease the cost of energy bills? If your home needs new windows, siding, doors, and more, look no further than your locally owned Window World, the Triangle's most trusted and America's largest exterior remodeler. A proud sponsor of the Canes, Window World will get your home looking great on the outside while saving on energy costs inside. Search Window World for a free quote today.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score!
Whether it's the future of college football or my love for the Ryder Cup, it's all found in the Best of the Adam Gold Show podcast, brought to you by Coach Pete at Capital Financial Advisory Group. Visit us at capitalfinancialusa.com.
This is Adam Gold.
Victoria, you played sports in high school, right?
Oh, yeah. Basketball, and I swam.
Could you imagine competing for $1 million?
No.
$1 million.
No. I competed for plastic trophies.
I was also a high school athlete, baseball player. No, and I could never even imagine it.
No.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program. Brett McMurphy will join us in just a little bit. While we wait on Brett, the Panthers situation to me is fascinating because, and I've said this before, Dave Canales was brought in here as the quarterback whisperer. But if we looked a little bit further than he turned Geno Smith and Baker Mayfield back into good quarterbacks, or in the case of Geno Smith, into a good quarterback, really good quarterback, we would see one thing very clearly. Geno Smith had been around for a long time prior to getting the opportunity in Seattle, so he had seen a lot of football. And Baker Mayfield had success with Cleveland. So it wasn't like he was without success. And sometimes it just takes somebody else to figure out what you are really good at But in the case of Baker Mayfield, he had been a good quarterback before. All right, now, Brett McMurphy from the Action Network, America's college football reporter, joins us on the Adam Gold Show. First of all, thank you very much for coming on. Appreciate it. I know you do college football playoff projections, and I laughed initially, but I am fascinated by the potential of Army getting the group of 5 spot. So I want to start there. They do have to beat Notre Dame, but the rest of their schedule is negotiable. I would like to see a completely ranked matchup in the Army-Navy game at the end of the year.
Well, it's possible. I'm actually pulling for Army because there's a weird situation with the American Conference where Army and Navy, they both play Notre Dame. Navy plays them this week. Army plays them in 3 weeks.
Right.
Regardless of that result, they should go undefeated in conference play. And they would meet in the American Championship the first Saturday in December. And the winner of that game could be the highest-ranked Group 5 champ to go to the college football playoff, like you referenced in my bowl projections. However, the week after the rankings and the pairings for the playoff will be announced, Army will then play Navy in their regularly scheduled Army-Navy game that we're so used to seeing every second Saturday of December. So here's the big change. That game will not impact the playoffs. So look, I don't want Army or Navy to lose. I'm not anti-American, but right. I would love to see the Army-Navy winner of the conference championship game go to the playoff and then lose the following week and not be impacted at all. And then the Boise States and the UNLVs of the world to have an outcry of why are they getting this special treatment? They lost this game. They shouldn't be in the playoffs. So that's kind of what I'm rooting for. I think Army's got a better chance to get in if Boise State does not win the Mountain West.
Right.
They have a huge game Friday at UNLV. Is it likely? No. Is it possible? Yes. But, hey, this year when we've seen, more than 3 touchdown underdogs like Kennesaw State last night win, when we see Vanderbilt, beat Alabama, when we see Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame, I mean, anything's possible in this wild season.
Brett McMurphy at Brett_McMurphy on Twitter, America's college football insider with the Action Network. Agent of chaos, Brett McMurphy. I love it.
Yeah.
I am also interested in chaos. We're seeing chaos in the SEC. So what is going to give here? Yes, Georgia probably is the best team. Texas, I know Texas lost to Georgia, but maybe Texas didn't have real bona fides. Michigan wasn't that good, right, when they beat Michigan. Oklahoma really isn't any good, who just got walloped on their own field by South Carolina, who's not a bad team, but they're not at the upper part of the SEC. So maybe Texas didn't have real bona fides. What's going to give in the SEC? Could you see a 3-loss at-large team out of that league?
It's funny, you ran down the list of SEC teams, and you didn't even name the 2 teams that are undefeated in the league, LSU and Texas A&M.
Right.
That's a great question, and I don't know the answer to that because, again, the selection committee, it's a beauty contest. That's all it is.
Right.
It's their opinion. You and I can say, look, 3-loss Alabama, 3-loss Tennessee, they deserve to be in, but the committee may think differently, so our opinions don't matter. I think we're going to find out how much strength of schedule matters. And here's an example. Indiana's undefeated right now, having an unbelievable season. They still have to play Ohio State.
Yeah.
Probably going to lose that game. So if they win out, they're 11-1. Lost to Ohio State. I don't think that gets them into the Big Ten title game. So they've got 11 wins against no ranked teams.
Mm-hmm.
They lost their only game against a ranked opponent. How is the committee going to rank 11-1 Indiana against potentially a 3-loss Tennessee or a 3-loss Alabama that has multiple losses to top 25 teams? Plus, on Alabama's case, a win against one of the top 2 or 3 ranked teams in the country. Who will they consider the better team in that scenario? I have no clue. The ACC gets 2 teams in. I think the Big 12 gets 1. The Group 5 gets the other one, so that puts us at 4. And then I think the remaining 8 go to the Big 10 and the SEC in some form or fashion. But, I do think a 3-loss SEC team gets in. I don't know how many. But the one thing that we can go by, and again, it's a different selection committee every year. They say they consider all these different, statistics and
Sure.
the eye test and all this minutia. It'll bore you to death listening to what all it is. Reality is, in the 10-year history of the college football playoff, the only thing that has mattered is the number in the loss column.
Right. Except last year.
The one exception is right. The one exception is Florida State.
Yeah. When
they didn't have a quarterback. So again, we can sit here and say, 3-loss teams getting in, but are they really going to leave out? If it gets down to that's the last at-large spot, 11-1 Indiana versus any 9-3 team, Big Ten, SEC, I don't care who it is, with a stronger strength of schedule, are they really going to leave out a 1-loss Indiana team for a team with 3 losses? I don't think they've got the guts to do it, but we'll find out. But that's a great question, and I think what they decide will impact future schedules of the Big Ten and the SEC going forward, because if they are going to be penalized for playing these tougher schedules, then you're not going to see a Texas-Michigan non-conference game anymore. You're not going to see those high-profile out-of-conference games, and you're going to see them playing, Podunk State again to get that all-important victory.
Brett McMurphy, Action Network, is joining us here in the Adam Gold Show. I've been saying this for a long time. They can talk all they want. The only time strength of schedule and who you played in football matters is when it's a tiebreaker or to suit their agenda. It's the only time it ever matters. Is at that point, it's a tiebreaker at the end. The only thing they care about is how many times did you lose? And if the answer is 0, unless you're Florida State, when again last year to me was a vibe, and the PR campaign of we can't have a playoff without a team from the SEC because Alabama should have been the odd team out. Florida State should have gone. Texas beat Alabama. They would have been the other team in. It would have been pretty simple. Penalize Florida State with seeding based on using a second-string quarterback. But they pretended it was going to be the third-string quarterback, again, to suit their agenda, and the fact that it was Alabama. And to
be honest, I think Georgia should have been in the playoffs.
Sure,
last
they
year.
were better. They were better than all of them. I agree with you.
I mean, you strictly go by the power ratings. They were, and that's where people get. And I vote in the AP poll, and I try not to do this, but it's difficult. People get locked into, well, the week before, this is how I rated the team,
right?
So this team lost, like Georgia. So now I've got to drop them. Where if you just said, okay, I'm not going to do any rankings. Now, here we are at the end of the season. Georgia's 12-1, Alabama's 12-1, Texas is 12-1, whatever they were, I don't remember. And it's like, okay, let's evaluate the entire season. Then you don't put so much emphasis on a late season loss. So, yeah, there's different ways to do it, but I understand what you're saying.
Brett McMurphy is joining us here in the Adam Gold Show. There's 1,000 different questions I could ask you, but I do want to get your take on the those various plans that came out. One was called Project Rudy. There was also a college student football league, or whatever it was called. They were similar in structure, but different when you kind of dug into the details. To me, the reason, and Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti both commented, I guess either prior to their joint meetings in Nashville a week or so ago. To me, the reason they won't ever happen is because the SEC and the Big Ten would have to give up their clear economic advantage over the rest of the country in terms of top-level college football. Not for any other reason, because right now, the way it is, they control everything, including how much money other leagues don't get, because there's not enough money out there and there's not enough value in the other leagues. I understand that. But they could even make more money based on these projections. But I think they're more interested in the advantage than they are in the total dollars.
Yeah, they're not going to be. That's why I don't think these things will happen. If they want to do these kind of two power leagues or combine and do each other, they're going to do it themselves. They're not going to hire someone to come in, and that's why. And look, people say we need to have a commissioner for college football. That makes a lot of sense, except for one thing, and you brought it up. Greg Sankey and Tony Batiti are not going to hire somebody to be their boss.
Right.
Okay. The SEC is going to do what's best for the SEC. The Big Ten is going to do what's best for the Big Ten. The ACC is going to do what's best for the ACC, and so on. You could say, well, the SEC can't do this because it's going to ruin the rest of college football. I agree with that statement, but also you can't tell the SEC you can't do things because how it's going to impact others. You have to do what's best for yourself. And, this isn't the NFL as much as people want to say it is, because the NFL has 32 teams that work together in a partnership. College football has 9 or 10 different conferences that work independently to do what's best for them and also decide to kind of do things together when they can. But their common goal is not to do what's best for 10 conferences.
Right.
It's to do what's best for the one conference.
Yeah,
that's why I don't see this ever happening. The way they're proposing it.
Maybe this is a harsh way of saying it, but Greg Sankey doesn't really care about college football. He cares about the SEC. Same with Tony Petitti.
He cares about college football, but he cares more about the SEC.
Yeah. Brett McMurphy is joining us here. Final question. Best team in the ACC is who?
God. Captain Chaos here. Clemson and SMU all went out. We've got a 3-way tie, 3 undefeated teams. They don't play each other. And they've got a variety of tiebreakers. I'm rooting for the last one where they pull names out of a hat. For this season, I picked Miami to win the ACC. I'll still stick with that, but man, I would not be surprised if Clemson beats them. Everyone gave Clemson up for dead after the loss to Georgia. And at the time I said, you know what, Georgia just may be that good. And Georgia is that good, not every week, but certain weeks. And Clemson has dominated after that week. They haven't played anybody.
Right. Sure.
They haven't beat a ranked team all year. They'll finish at Pitt, that can be a ranked team.
Sure.
They may finish the season not having beat a ranked team, but they have been very impressive in what they've done. I love Miami. I love Cam Ward. They've had some defensive issues the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So I'll stick with Miami as my preseason pick, but I would not be shocked if Clemson wins the ACC title and gets one of those first-round byes in the playoffs.
Brett McMurphy, I appreciate your time. America's Chaos Agent College Football Insider, Action Network, at Brett_McMurphy. We'll talk again soon, hopefully.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it.
You got it. Brett McMurphy here on the Adam Gold Show. When we come back, one-timers. Victoria missed yesterday. I don't even remember Graham's one-timer.
Man, we got to step it
I
up.
didn't even remember it. Next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, as we wrap up Week 7 of the NFL. Ravens at the Buccaneers should be a blast, and new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win the wager on tonight's game. Lamar Jackson will do something spectacular. That would be an easy win if you could bet that. So go to FanDuel.com/AGS and make every moment more this season with FanDuel. That's FanDuel.com/AGS. For FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. FanDuel, have fun. It's football. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
I am Bruno Hinojosa and I live in Asheville. I work in construction and I just enrolled in NC Medicaid. I went to their website, applied, and got covered. Doctor visits, yearly checkups, and even emergency care if I need it. Being a business owner can be stressful at times, but knowing that I got covered, it just takes weight off my shoulders. And I can get the care that I need when I need it at low or no cost. And it's one less thing I need to worry about now.
NC Medicaid is for more people. See if you qualify at medicaid.nc.gov.
Some call it overplanning. At Alternative Power, we call it foresight. Be prepared for the next power outage with a Generac home standby generator. After sensing a power outage, a Generac generator automatically restores your home's power, whether you're home or away. Generac, it's not just a generator, it's a power move. Act now for a free 10-year warranty on a Generac home standby generator. Terms and conditions apply. See more at alternativepower.com. Alternative Power, North Carolina's Generac experts.
Real quick, raise your hand if you want to lose an additional 4 bands a year. Go ahead and put your hands up. Put your hands up. You voted for Kamala Harris. Oh, okay, my fault. Good, because I don't think people understand that voting for Trump means you will lose an additional $4,000 to $5,000 a year. If Trump is elected, he plans to add a 60% tariff on all imports from China. Anything in your house that says made in China, take the price that you paid for and add 60%. He plans to add a 20% tariff on all imports coming from every other country. With Kamala Harris's opportunity economy, she's not hitting you with the sales tax of doom. She's providing tax cuts to the middle and working class, so that means you will save an additional $4,000 to $5,000 a year. Plus the $25,000 she's literally handing to new homebuyers. Like, you know who to vote for in this November's election. It's Kamala Harris. Paid for by FFPAC, ffpac.org. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. FFPAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
The 2024 elections are just around the corner, and older voters are the nation's most active. The AARP North Carolina Voters Guide has information about upcoming election dates, registration deadlines, and voting options in North Carolina, such as voting by mail, early voting, or voting with a disability. Find the guide in the voters section at aarp.org/NC and listen each week to AARP Without Limits for important election news and much more. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
As fall championships begin, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling home from today's events. Whether you're driving out of town or across town this holiday season, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. During the busiest time of travel, prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. And remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
This is Adam Gold.
Thank you very much for your time, man. We will talk again.
Adam, anytime for you, my friend.
Thank you. I don't know why it makes me laugh. Why does that make me laugh?
I don't know. Maybe you just are used to people being mean to you or something, like Twitter. I don't know.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold, Victoria, producing the program. Tonight, the Canes are in Calgary. We'll get to that more at the top of the hour, unless Victoria has questions about the Hurricanes. And also next hour, John Breech on the NFL. It is worth reminding you that we have the Bryce Young experience back coming up on Sunday in Denver as Andy Dalton suffered a sprained thumb in the car accident he was in on, Tuesday yes. afternoon. Mm-hmm. So he's fine other than the sprained thumb. Wife fine, 3 kids fine, dog fine, although in the story there was no mention of the dog. They did mention that the 3 kids were fine. Yeah. The wife is fine. Dalton, other than the sprained thumb, is fine. We have not heard about the dog, but I'm going to assume the dog is fine. Andy Dalton did stress, this is why it's important to wear a seatbelt, people.
Exactly. Was he in Raleigh traffic, too?
Charlotte traffic, which is also bad. Honestly, not that bad. But whatever. I'm just glad everybody's okay.
Yeah.
But we will get the Bryce Young experience this Sunday. Yeah. Time for one-timers. All right, let's hear it.
And that's where we will start. So it's official. Bryce is back in.
Yep.
So
Dave Canales is so happy.
Oh, yeah, we're all happy. So What is your prediction of how you think Bryce will look on the field after a few weeks out?
Bad.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, my expectations of this are super, super low. But maybe I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to give the head coach this much credit here. I believe that he will do what he should have done from Jump Street, and that is we are going to run the ball, and then try to use play-action passing to make Bryce's life easier.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. The best thing they do as an offensive line is run block. Not even close. Do you see what their pass block win rate was against Washington? 27th best in the NFL. You know what Washington isn't good at? Pressuring the quarterback.
Right.
That was atrocious. After a couple of weeks, we're talking about how good the offensive line was. It ain't that good. So they've got to run the football.
Mm-hmm.
They got to stick with it.
Yes.
Run the ball.
Hopefully they're practicing early, too, because the elevation is going to get to them, I'm sure. So that'll be great. Now,
Yes.
sticking with the Panthers. So we all remember the little boost we got when we saw Andy take the field for the first time.
Yes.
Do you think the team will somehow get another boost with a new old face on the field again, or could it be just the opposite effect? This is from the team perspective.
It has to be the opposite effect. Like, no offense, Bryce is probably not going to be good.
No.
But if you're the team, and like Jadeveon Clowney's talking about, no man, we can win, we can still make the playoffs. The division lead is only 4-3. I'm not saying they will because I don't think they're going to win 4 games from this season, but as a player, you don't think that way. And if they have anything inside as a team, they will try to rally around Bryce and make him better.
Yeah.
So that's what I would like to see from that team.
Okay. Well, there's another team that's kind of dealing with a similar QB issue. So Deshaun Watson is out for the Browns. Jameis Winston is in.
Yes.
Do you see that giving this terrible team a boost, or are they just doomed?
Well, yes, doomed. The answer part is B. But I don't think Jameis Winston is worse than Deshaun Watson. I think he might be better than Deshaun Watson, to be honest. Deshaun was so bad. So, yeah, they could be, like, I might start, David Njoku.
Okay.
The tight end.
There you go.
I think we might see something good from him. I actually think the Browns will be better as a result. All right, we got the Canes in Calgary. More on Bryce Young and Grayson McCall next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Get crazy, Canes fans. It's hockey night in Carolina.
Game over! Sebastian Aho wins it in overtime!
Storm Watch with Adam Gold at 8:30.
Here come the Hats! A natural hat trick for Marty Natchez. 3-0 Carolina.
On your exclusive home for the Carolina Hurricanes. 99.9 The Fan.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
That's some deal, yeah. McDonald's money. I got McDonald's money. One meal just to make me feel better. All I wanna know is, can I get a hot and spicy patty, the McNuggets so crisp, and the fries go to yellow, yeah, McDonald's don't miss, yeah. On the app or the drive-thru quick, yeah. $5, that's some deal, yeah. McDonald's money. I got McDonald's money.
At participating McDonald's.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling. We do the job right every time.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling is celebrating 51 years of trusted service. And to celebrate, get a furnace tune-up for just $51. That's peace of mind heating for only $51. Visit MitchellHVAC.com. Mitchell Heating and Cooling, quality products and services on time from a family you trust. It's hard to stop a train.
What if you could be debt-free by this January? Get rid of all that high-interest debt, pay off all your credit cards, consolidate everything into one lower payment? Hey, it's Dennis Cox. If you're ready to stop stressing over bills, you need to call Loan Pronto right now. With rates at their lowest in 2 years, this is the perfect chance to use your home's equity and save big going into the new year. Loan Pronto's got rates with APRs in the low fives, and they're getting homeowners hundreds of thousands out of their home's equity. Homeowners who do this save on average $850 a month. Loan Pronto offers a ton of options, including total refis or their Express Equity line of credit. So call now. Get a rate quote in just minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call today and you won't make a house payment till 2025. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. Free rate quote now, 919-381-1760. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. On approved credit, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
Whether it's the future of college football or my love for the Ryder Cup, it's all found in the Best of the Adam Gold Show podcast, brought to you by Coach Pete at Capital Financial Advisory Group. Visit us at capitalfinancialusa.com.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy two. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
But the thing that was so wild for me, full circle, is I faced Fernando Valenzuela, and you talk about out of my mind, and just to face him, and he was, he had that screwball that, you just like knew all about and watched, and of course he was much older, but he was still holding it down in there, and I think one of the moments where I was like, I've arrived, is I faced him in spring training also, and I had a really good game. I hit like a double off him, and he backed up third, and he actually like nodded, like, kind of winked, like, hey, good shot, And I was like, I have nothing left to do in this game.
You have accomplished. You have achieved all. It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Doug Glanville yesterday on the show talking about the late Fernando Valenzuela. It kind of triggered a little bit of a Twitter conversation yesterday because I brought up with Doug the fact that Fernando is not in the Hall of Fame. And Valenzuela's number 34 is retired by the Dodgers, and it is the only retired number by the Dodgers of a player who is not in baseball's Hall of Fame. Now, I don't know enough about the Dodgers organization to know that that's a requirement or not. But it is interesting that he's not in the Hall, but all of their other retired numbers are. And then it got me like, why the heck isn't he in the Hall? Because if you're a baseball fan, first thing we all remember is that the Hall of Fame is a museum. It is a museum about the history of the sport, of the game, of the Major League game primarily. And it's good to know now that the Negro Leagues is being recognized as a major league, not just a Negro League, a major league. In fact, if you go to baseballreference.com, one of my all-time favorite websites, just a data site, And they do it now. The references, they have everything. You have football, pro football references, great. Basketball, hockey reference. I use hockey reference all the time. Heck, as I become a huge international soccer fan, I use FB Ref, which is the same deal but for soccer all over the world. If you go to baseballreference.com, when you look at playoffs and it gives you champions, it gives you now, in the list of all the World Series champions, it gives you the champions of the two, I think, major Negro Leagues at the time. So it takes a lot longer to scroll through if you're trying to see, hey, who won this World Series, because they have the Negro Leagues in there, and that's what it should be. But Fernando Valenzuela was for 7 years, one of the best pitchers in the entire game. Now, he won the Rookie of the Year and the Cy Young in the same year, and he never won another Cy Young. But that didn't mean he wasn't great during that stretch. Eddie Murray, who was a great first baseman for the Baltimore Orioles and is in the Hall of Fame, never won an MVP because it always seemed like while he was great every year, somebody else just had a slightly better year, or there was a different reason to give somebody an MVP award. So the fact that he never won another Cy Young shouldn't take anything away. He won a World Series also as a rookie, didn't win. He wasn't on the 88 team. Was he on? He might have been on the 88 team, but he wasn't the feature. Oral Hershiser was the star of that team. But Fernando pitched for nearly 20 years. He just fell off after that 7-year run, that 7-year burst. He wasn't quite the same player, the same pitcher. He had a couple of really good years after that, but he wasn't quite the same. But that dominance, why isn't that a Hall of Famer? Certainly I'd rather have that guy. This was brought up to me. No offense to the Phil Niekros of the world, who's in the Hall of Fame. And I'm not saying Phil Niekro doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame or a Don Sutton. They were mostly very good to really good over a long period of time and compiled a lot of wins, which mattered more to, I guess, the voters. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. Also, the fame portion. Fernando Valenzuela is arguably one of the most famous great players of all time. That was just from yesterday. And all of that came out of Doug Glanville's conversation. We had fun. All right. Second take at the news of the day. We're going to get to Bryce Young in a second. I want to read part of the Grayson McCall retirement, I guess, note to State fans. Or maybe it was just to fans in general. And for those of you who don't know, yesterday it was announced that Grayson McCall was going to retire from playing football. The second concussion he received was enough. And it was gruesome, and people were worried for a lot of other reasons beyond can he play again, which I think we all felt the same way with Tua Tagovailoa. And by the way, Tua is going to play this Sunday for the Dolphins. But here's McCall's statement. And I have kind of edited out a lot of things just because you could read the entire thing if you wanted on Pack Pride. As a young kid, I never wanted to watch cartoons or do things that most other kids were doing. I wanted to watch football and run around with the ball in my hand. This game has taken me places I never thought I would go and has shaped my family and I in ways I never imagined. Unfortunately, my dream has been cut just short. As you all know, I have battled injuries my whole career, but this is one that I cannot come back from. I have done everything I can to continue, but brain specialists, my family, and I have come to the conclusion that it is in my best interest to hang the cleats up. What we do know about concussions is that, yes, Get one, the next one comes easier. Get two, even easier after that, which is why so many people are afraid for Tua Tagovailoa, and why people, even going into this year, based on last year's concussion, which cut his season short by, 6, 7, 8 games, something like that, they were worried that what happens if he gets another one? Well, he did, and he got a bad one. But the other thing that we do know, even though there is still a ton of work to be done on really figuring out whether it's how to prevent, how to mitigate concussions, is that it leads to further problems down the road. Whether that's Parkinson's or CTE. Like in boxing, they call what we all would call, concussion. They call it being punch drunk. And when it is your job to essentially get hit in the face, it stands to reason that over time that will take a toll. So I'm not necessarily equating this to boxing, but
it's similar. Still involves the brain.
Yep. And again, I said this earlier, with just a little tweak on how we describe concussions, I think it would be a lot more serious for a lot more people if we called them bruised brains. Just change. It's the same injury. But now, it's just a concussion. No such animal. No such animal as just a concussion. All right. I wish Grayson McCall well in whatever he is going to do next. He says he wants to get into coaching. I support him getting into coaching. All right. Bryce Young is back. Bryce Young is back. Nobody could be happier than Dave Canales.
Yeah.
That's Dave for you, Canales. People on YouTube.
Yes.
By the way, subscribe, like, share, rate, review, whatever you need to do. We're here every day. Throw a comment in the suggestion box.
Well, Dave just throws some positive sprinkles on it and makes everything better.
He always does.
Yeah.
He always does. All right, well, let's start with Dave Canales. First on Andy Dalton's injury. He was injured in the car accident Tuesday afternoon. And Bryce getting the job.
First of all, I'm sure you've heard Andy Dalton was in a car accident yesterday with his family, with JJ and the kids. And a scary moment for sure. Everyone was okay. Everyone was healthy. Unfortunately, in the accident, he did sprain his thumb. So Bryce will be playing this week for us. And we'll be evaluating Andy day to day going into this weekend to see if we can get him up as the 2 on game day. So let the team know really just right now coming off the field. They all kind of saw, but I wanted them to have the official, just report the official news about what our plan is going for this weekend.
All right. Not a lot of positives there about Bryce Young, mostly about Andy, but Bryce is going to start. Now, what should have happened before week 3 was Dave Canales should have publicly said, look, it hasn't been good for 2 weeks. We think that Bryce needs to take a step back, watch Andy Dalton play, be a pro, which, by the way, happened in week 3 last year. Dalton had a big game against Seattle. Now, I'm not saying it helped Bryce Young, but I don't know, I'm not going to say that they made up an ankle injury, but he was back playing the following week, so they had him sit behind Andy Dalton for 1 game. But what Canales should have said, but he never did, and they never, even given several opportunities to say so, they didn't, was, hey, Bryce just needs to watch for a bit. We'll get back to Bryce. He's still the quarterback of the future, but we're going to go with Andy for a while, and then when we can get Bryce up to speed, we think he's ready, we're going to go back to Bryce.
Yeah.
But that's what he never did because that was never their intention. That's the only way we could really take those non-comments.
And they have not said Bryce is the future in a long time either.
Because he's not.
He's not. Yes.
Because he's not for them. And that's fine. Whatever. You make whatever decision you have to. Here's Bryce on if basically he needed a reset and maybe it would have helped.
you have your day-to-day stuff of, try to have your day-to-day resets to be the best of the building. But for me, I never was out of it. Again, that's just out of respect for the game and, respect for the team and knowing just how the league is. There's never a take a step back or phone it in for a week. I have, too much love for the game to do that. So it's been the same approach every week. It's been the same routine as I've had no matter what my role has been. And again, it's gonna stay that way. No matter what. So, again, just whatever I can do to help the team.
Okay, there's Bryce Young on the way he's prepared himself.
I try to work to be better every single day, and I always want to grow. Again, obviously, it's the weeks of watching film and going through, obviously, different experiences. Again, it's the same day-to-day growth, same day-to-day grind I've been on for a majority of my life. So, again, I'm grateful for where I'm at, and then just focus on continuing to grow.
What about beyond this week, Bryce?
No, that's nothing that has been discussed, and again, that's stuff that's him in the front office, and they make that decision. So, that's.
Do you view it in that lens at all?
I don't view anything in any sort of lens. Again, the stuff that's out of my control is out of my control. So I just want to help the team win. We all have the same goals, and do everything I can to contribute to that.
That was Joe Person right there asking the follow-up.
Another great
follow-up question. You know what I want Bryce to say? And, this is on me. This is not on Bryce. This is on me because this is what I would want to hear if I were a fan and I thought maybe Bryce does have something. I would want to hear Bryce say, it's up to me to make the decision for them. If I go out and I do the things I know I'm capable of doing, then I'll play.
Yeah.
Flat out.
It's true, he would.
It's a couple of years ago when Baker Mayfield came to Carolina. The thing that jumped out to me the most about Baker was it didn't make a difference how he played. Baker Mayfield always carried himself like not only the starting quarterback, but as a top-level starting quarterback.
Elite quarterback.
Nobody had more confidence.
Nope.
Exuded more I'm the man mentality than Baker Mayfield. It always appeared that way to me.
Even in his commercials.
Yeah.
When he did them.
The commercials were really good. I love the commercials.
Yeah.
I think Baker had a talent.
Right.
But Bryce has never done that.
No, not at all.
And it probably doesn't really matter that much. But when you are struggling, Bryce doesn't give off an aura that says, I'm going to go out and I'm going to ball out.
Yeah.
And I'm going to win us a football game. And then I'm going to tell Dave Canales that I'm the guy.
Yeah.
He just doesn't seem. Now, maybe he'll have that once he gets more success. Maybe when he gets, again, some success on the field, maybe we'll see that come out of him.
Maybe. It's just disturbing because I see starting quarterbacks like Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels, who is phenomenal so far. They come out the gate with that confidence.
Yep.
But Bryce, the guys have nothing to feed off of around him because he's not confident in himself. So the guys why would they have any confidence in him?
Well, here's the thing. He might be confident in himself,
Yeah.
but he is not conveying that.
No, he's not showing that at all.
And that's a major problem for me. All right, let me get to one more thing before we break. John Breech, CBSSports.com. We're going to talk about the NFL with him. A little bit about the Panthers, the trade deadline. There's a lot of stuff. Are the Panthers going to make trades? Right? Are they going to jettison anybody off the roster? You know how I feel. I would trade anybody that could get me something. But tonight in Calgary, Hurricanes are going to go for a sweep of the province of Alberta. 3-2 overtime win in Edmonton. Tonight in Calgary, Flames are 5-0-1. There are 4 teams in the NHL who have yet to lose a game in regulation. Calgary is one of them. The Rangers are also 5-0-1. Minnesota is 4-0-2, and Winnipeg is shockingly 6-0.
Wow.
Yes, 12 points from 12, as we like to say. The Jets have been absolutely on fire. But Hurricanes, apart from the game against Tampa, have been really good. All of the way they have played, the fact that they have in general played their game 4 straight times out after the Tampa game should be encouraging. The only thing we want to see is just taking a little bit more advantage of it in terms of expected goals. And again, this is where the shots come from. Not necessarily who they're coming from, but where the shots come from. There's a determination of what percentage of one a shot should create a goal. The Hurricanes at 5-on-5 through 5 games have an expected goal total of 14, but they have 9. So there's a -5 between what the math says they should have and what they have actually achieved. That number needs to level out. It just does. Calgary's expected goals through, they've played 6 games, is like 11, but they have 12 goals. See? Basically level. That number should be level. When the Hurricanes start getting maybe a few breaks or taking advantage more, then I think we'll see their game go to another level. I think there is great upside for a team that has already played really well and is 3-2 because didn't get quite enough out of their opportunities. All right, when we come back, John Breech. By the way, Stormwatch, 8:30 if you're interested in the pregame show on 99.9 The Fan or our home office here in Raleigh.
Yeah.
But you could always stream it.
I see you made it through the last late game when we had everyone playing.
I did. We did have that was a fun night.
Yeah.
So many scores. The scoreboard was crazy.
Right.
Tonight's scoreboard won't be as bad. Yesterday there was only one game. Is it just one game on yesterday in the NHL? The night after we had 16. But Canes and Flames tonight. When we come back, John Breech, CBSSports.com. We'll talk NFL football. How good can the Pittsburgh Steelers be? Next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
We're kicking it this fall with college football. Join 99.9 The Fan all season long and catch your favorite teams in action. The ACC, the SEC, and every conference that matters. You'll find the best matchups here.
The Blue Devils up 21-20, and they got their arms reaching for that bell.
College football on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Wake Med, Sammy's Tap and Grill, and Roofworks.
Tonight we have the NFL battle between the Minnesota Vikings and the LA Rams in LA, and there is a definite way to heat things up. I'm Victoria Vodnecker here for BetMGM, and just looking at this game tonight, you could spice things up with picking a first drive result. Or maybe you think tonight is the night for a certain player to get 1 or more touchdowns. One route I like to take when I feel like I know both teams in a matchup is to make a same-game parlay and try your hand at multiple predictions within the same game. But it doesn't just stop at football or these routes, because when you use the BetMGM app, you'll have options like betting the money line, prop bets, live bets, those same game parlays I mentioned, and BetMGM likes to throw out these fun daily promotions for day of games. All brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Download the app today and please gamble responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus, only North Carolina only. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
It's bow time. It's not just football season. It's tailgate season. And that includes every kind of football, whether it's got goalkeepers or goalposts. The kick is good! Because it doesn't matter where or how you tailgate. When you've got crispy chicken and fluffy buttermilk biscuits from Bojangles, your tailgate is better than great. It's legendary. Head to Bojangles and order your tailgate box with boldly seasoned chicken, fixins, biscuits, and legendary iced tea today. It's bow time.
planning a tailgate? Then it's bow time. Bojangles has everything you need for the perfect tailgate, no matter how many fans you're trying to feed. There's the original tailgate, the super tailgate, and for a really big crowd, the jumbo tailgate special. And if you like your chicken off the bone, choose the Supreme's tailgate special that includes 12 perfectly seasoned tenderloin fillets. So grab the tickets, get that Bojangles tailgate special, and go. It's bow time.
Want to score points with your boss? Recruit RoofWorks to your building maintenance team to handle your commercial roofing needs. Hi, this is Holly with RoofWorks. We've helped hundreds of Triangle businesses with their commercial roof maintenance, repairs, and if necessary, total replacements. Our pros come to your site, assess your roofing needs, and then give you a range of options to fit your budget. And we'd love to work with you. For roof maintenance and repair, contact us today at roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
Here's Brandon with Parkway Sleep Centers.
Tired of waiting for a sleep treatment? At other sleep centers, it can take 6 to 8 months just to get an appointment and cost you thousands more. Not Parkway Sleep Health Centers. We schedule you within weeks and we'll save you money too. We have over 20 years of experience serving the Triangle. Let our expert team help you sleep better sooner.
End your sleep problems. Live your best life. Experience the Parkway Sleep difference. Visit parkwaysleep.com and start your journey to better sleep today. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep. Sound health.
Is this house a good price compared to others in the area? Are prices going up or down? If I don't make an offer right this very moment, will I miss my chance? These are just some of the questions a home buyer might ask. And these are the sorts of questions an agent who is a Realtor can help answer. Because Realtors have the expertise, data, and access to specialty training to help you navigate the process of buying a home. They provide support, guidance, and have your back every step of the way. That's what Realtors do, because that's who we are. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors.
This is Adam Gold.
Maybe at some point after repeated losing, David Tepper will get out of the way.
Yeah, it's going to be on my Christmas list every year until it happens. So, there.
I wish I could give you that.
I wish
I could put a bow around that for you,
me
Victoria.
too.
The Adam Gold Show.
John Breech, CBSSports.com. He picks games every week. He writes about football, so why don't we talk football? Let's start with the trade debt. I'm a baseball guy and I cover the Hurricanes. Trade deadlines in those two sports are crazy. But in the NFL, it's only been like a big deal the last few years. They finally caught on to the fun of all of it. We've seen Devontae Adams go to the Jets, Amari Cooper go to the Bills. Looks like DeAndre Hopkins is going to go to the Chiefs. Who's next?
That's a good question, Adam. I think you look around the league, you look at who's going to be the buyers, who's going to be the sellers. Obviously, there's been a lot of speculation about Cooper Kupp. That's probably been the biggest name we've been seeing thrown around. But, I think there's still a lot to happen really in Week 8 because the Rams are a really good example of a team. They're 2-4, a game and a half out of the NFC West, out of first place. So if they win on Thursday night, if they win tonight against the Vikings, that kind of shifts things. And now you're thinking, maybe we don't want to trade Cooper Kupp. Maybe we need to hold on to our stars because now we're back in the NFC playoff race. So I do think that this weekend will kind of determine who is going to be a buyer and who's going to be a seller, especially with those 2-win teams. Because if you're 2-4 and you fall to 2-5 or 2-5 and fall to 2-6, like the Jets might, then you start thinking, all right, the season feels like it's over. Maybe we sell. But if you get to that 3rd win or your 3-win team to get to that 4th win, you're thinking, no, we're going to make a move. We want to get better. So I think this Sunday, really Week 8, will kind of determine who ends up being buyer and who ends up being a seller.
You think if the Jets lose to the Patriots, they'll trade Aaron Rodgers? I'm just kidding.
The thing is, if you do lose, you just went through all that trouble to get Devontae Adams. You went through all the trouble to build this roster that Aaron Rodgers wanted, but I don't think you can recover from 2-6.
No.
Obviously it's the Patriots, though. It's a game they should win, but, they've done plenty. They just haven't played well. So who knows? And then they have to turn around and play the Texans in Week 9 on a Thursday, which is not on Halloween. So who knows how that will turn out. And then, so even if you beat the Patriots, you could be staring at 3-6 going into Week 10. So the Jets are in a very precarious situation right now.
Awful position for Jets fans. It's funny, as a former Jets fan, I'm actually enjoying the whole process here. John Breech, CBSSports.com, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Here's the way I've looked at it. Because this isn't to an extent, it's about you can't overcome being the Jets. Because as a dysfunctional organization, like what they really needed was for Woody Johnson to go get himself another ambassadorship so Christopher Johnson could run the team. It seemed like they were more functional when the younger brother ran the team. Woody is as a destroyer. He's very Jimmy Haslam-like. But if the Jets had anything resembling the Aaron Rodgers of 3 years ago, if he was 75% of that Aaron Rodgers, then I think the Jets, you could look at their schedule and go, they can win 8 games between now and the end of the season, 8 of their last 10. Schedule's doesn't kill them. They only have one more game with the Bills left, so the schedule doesn't beat them over the head. They could do that. But I think the problem is Aaron Rodgers. The problem isn't so much everybody else. I think the problem is Rodgers isn't even close, which is understandable. He's 40, coming off an Achilles and a thumb injury the year before. I'm not surprised that he's not very good.
Yeah, it really does feel like the problem has been Aaron Rodgers this season. It's just that I think the Jets thought the same thing when they got him. They're thinking, man, if we just get 80%, we know he's going to be 40. We know he's going to take a step back. He's older. He's slower. But he was playing an MVP level with the Packers. If we just get 80% of that, he can lead the Jets to the playoffs, and they haven't got that. I think their most recent game against the Steelers is just a good example of kind of what Rodgers is doing and how he's causing them to lose. I mean, the interception before halftime was just one of the most brutal interceptions I've seen, and that really turned the game around.
Yes,
because
it did.
You're talking about the Jets going in at halftime up 2 scores. Well, now you're barely up. Now the Steelers have all the momentum, and then it just flips, and you can't make passes like that. And Rodgers usually pretty responsible with the ball, and it just seems like he's a tad slow. Whether it's his ability to move, his ability to process what he's seeing on the field, and maybe things get a little bit better when he has Devontae Adams here for a second week, and as Adams gets more comfortable in the offense. But I feel like you don't have a huge window to fix things and to get Adams acclimated. You have this week, you have next week, you have to win those games. So they've got to get things turned around now.
Yeah, and I thought they were going to become a running team until they decided they weren't going to become a running team. John Breech, you lead me to the next topic, the Pittsburgh Steelers with Russell Wilson. I didn't think they would do it because I thought that Justin Fields was giving them just enough to take advantage of their defense, because I didn't think that Russell was going to be the Russell we saw for the last 3 quarters. That was very different from the Russell Wilson we saw in Denver last year, and they're very different from the Russell Wilson that we even saw in the last year in Seattle. This Russell, with that defense, might be an issue.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you look at Mike Tomlin just kind of smiling and smirking, but that's why they pay me the big bucks here in Pittsburgh. And look, that was a tough decision. I'm in the same boat as you. I'm all about, not even that I thought necessarily that Justin Fields was a better quarterback, but when you're in the NFL, I'm all about playing the hot hand. If a guy got you to 4-2, got you 6 points away from being 6-0, I have a hard time sending him to the bench. So I didn't think it was a crazy decision because, again, it's not like Justin Fields was playing at an MVP level, but I probably would have let Fields play until kind of the wheels fell off the wagon. But no, Tomlin said, we need to see what we have in Wilson. We need to see it now because I don't want to be in week 16 wondering who my quarterback's going to be if we're a playoff team. And it worked out. Like you said, once Wilson got his feet wet, the first quarter was a little iffy, but once he got comfortable in there, the offense looked good, and he really gave them the element that they didn't have with Fields, which was just throwing the ball downfield. Look, whether those rainbow passes are complete or drawing interference, you're gaining 30 yards every time he throws one, and Fields just refused to make those throws, whether he didn't want to be picked off or just didn't have time to because he was taking so many sacks. And so that element opens up everything, because if the Steelers can go downfield, that opens up your run game, opens up your short passing game. It just helps them in all facets of their offense. So, yeah, I was shocked to see how well Wilson played. But if he plays like this, I mean, this looks like a playoff team.
It absolutely does. And because of that defense, they don't need a ton out of the offense. They're going to be fascinating to watch in the second half of the year. All right, John Breech, we don't have a ton of time left, but I want to get to two teams that should be, I don't know, one of them should be better than they are because they've blown 2 games. The other, I think we kind of all knew this was going to be about it. Let's start with the 49ers, who should be better than they are, but they're not. What do you make of where they are? I know injuries have played a major role. They're down Brandon Ayuk, maybe Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey for another couple of weeks. It has been a mash unit at wide receiver, but they've blown 2 games, absolutely given them away when they shouldn't have. What do you make of where they are and what Kyle Shanahan's mood is like?
Yeah, it's really weird watching the 49ers, and it's hard to get a gauge on how good they are because it does still feel like they're one of the best teams in the NFC if they're healthy. But, are they ever going to get healthy? Because, I mean, it's just been one injury after another. I mean, I don't know if they offended the football gods or what happened, but I have not seen just star players go down like this where you think, if Brandon Ayuk isn't there for part of training camp, it's okay because you have Deebo Samuel. Now Brandon Ayuk is out for the season. Deebo Samuel was hospitalized with pneumonia.
Yeah.
Juwan Jennings leads the team in receiving yards, and he's been dealing with an injury. George Kittle's got a foot sprain. Their kicker is injured. I mean, just everybody on this team is injured. And you look at the games that they've lost. I mean, the ones they blew, you're talking about the Rams game.
And the Cardinals.
And the Cardinals game. And then even the Vikings game was rough because you had that was a game they probably should have won. They gave up like a 95-yard touchdown pass that just probably shouldn't have. There's just all these little plays. You could probably flip 4 plays on the 49ers season, and they would be a one-loss team with that only loss being to the Chiefs. And so it just really feels like Brock Purdy is pressing right now. You look at the Chiefs game, he threw 3 interceptions. The Cardinals game, he threw 2 interceptions. And so when you don't have anyone to throw to, that's what happens. So I think if Shanahan's smart, get back to the run. You have teams on your schedule that you can beat, and you just cross your fingers and hope Christian McCaffrey can come back healthy after the bye. Because it really feels like, you look at their upcoming schedule, Cowboys, Buccaneers, Seahawks. Those are the next 3 games. Those are games they probably should be able to win. And if you win those, you're right back in it. You're 6-4, and hopefully guys get healthy at that point.
Should be able to beat the Cowboys. Do we know what Cowboys team is going to show up? Because San Francisco's record is one that the Cowboys should be able to beat. But we know San Francisco is better than that. Nobody's in danger of losing their job. Mike McCarthy's not in danger of losing his job. Jerry Jones doesn't do that mid-season, maybe after the year. But how can the league's top general manager not have figured this out already?
Well, it's insane that Jerry Jones just – I don't even know what to say because you just see him he doesn't make all the personnel decisions, but he has final say on any decision that goes on in Dallas. And for this team to just not be able to get to an NFC title game, to not build a roster that can win a Super Bowl is just dumbfounding. It doesn't make any sense because people want to play in Dallas. Yeah. It's America's team. You can get free agents there, but they're just not going out and getting them. I mean, Jerry getting grilled for not bringing in Derrick Henry is kind of hilarious because he doesn't have a good excuse for it. There's no good reason for why this team couldn't go out and you have no running game whatsoever. You're bringing in a washed-up Ezekiel Elliott when you had Derrick Henry out there and chose not to do it. And you look at these games, they got blown out by the Saints, who are not a good team, and then obviously got blown out by the Lions a couple weeks ago. And you look at this team, I don't even think it's fair to fire Mike McCarthy because they didn't build him a good roster to deal with. And maybe this team could still get in the wild card. They're not a horrible team. They could still win 10, maybe 11 games. But it's just crazy that they didn't give McCarthy more to work with. And so this really is a big game because the 49ers are beat up. It's winnable. And if you lose it, now you're 3-4 and behind the 8 ball.
Who's going to win the NFC East?
I picked the Cowboys before the season, and I keep telling myself, I hate talking myself, they're 3-3. They're right in it. As bad as things have been, they are still right in the race. But I think the Commanders have looked so good. I'm going to go with them. They're first place. That's the lazy pick here. But I like Washington just because their one weakness was their defense. It's played a lot better over the past couple weeks.
It looks better when you play the Panthers. But Washington could very well be 8-2 entering their home stretch, and they will play Dallas and Philadelphia combined 4 times in their last 7 games. So Washington could give themselves a great chance to close this sucker out. But I think they have to give themselves a cushion, but they are definitely, if not the best story, they're certainly one of the best stories in the NFL. John Breech, CBSSports.com. That's John Breech. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks for having me, Adam.
It's John Breech from CBSSports.com. We briefly touched on San Francisco and what they've got left, or getting back in it, and the division isn't going to get away from them because there's probably nobody in the division that's going to win a ton of games. But this could go the other way too for the 49ers. You don't have Christian McCaffrey. They expect him back after the bye week. So there's one more game before the bye week, and that's at home against the Cowboys. It's very must-winish when you're 3-4, especially against the Cowboys team that can't stop the run. 49ers should be able to run it. Is Juwan Jennings going to be healthy? Is Ricky Pearsall going to take another step forward as a rookie wide receiver? Can you get George Kittle healthy? Do you have enough without Brandon Ayuk, and who's out for the year, and Deebo Samuel, who was ill, went to the hospital for pneumonia, and might not be able to play this week because you need to beat the Cowboys. Then you have the bye week, but man, their schedule is hard.
Very.
All right, they've got at Tampa after the bye week, at Tampa.
Which is now beat up, so maybe that's a little easier for them.
But we're 3 weeks from that game.
True.
But they're not a bad team.
They've been good.
Home against Seattle. Mm-hmm. That might be the best team in the division right now.
Yeah.
At the Packers. At the Bills. So their next 5 games.
All tough.
For a 3-4 team. The 49ers could win all 5 of those games. And they could lose all 5 of those games. Mm-hmm. So let's give the 49ers the benefit of the doubt and say they win. Well, it would be a serious benefit of the doubt to say they win 4 of them.
Yes.
Right? At Buffalo and at Green Bay.
Those 2.
So you're probably looking at 3-2.
Mm-hmm.
What would that take them to? From 3-4 to 6-6. All right.
500.
Home stretch. Bears, Rams at home. Dolphins on the road. Who knows what they're going to look like at that point. Lions at home.
Oof. No.
At the Cardinals. So probably let's just give them the benefit of the doubt and 4-1 finish.
Yeah.
That's a 10-7 season, and that's giving them the benefit of the doubt twice.
Right. Yeah.
When you are a good team in the NFL, the number one thing people forget, when you are really good and you win divisions, man, is your schedule hard the next year. Because you get pretty much all of the other first-place teams. Now, maybe you catch a break where the first-place team turns out to be trash. But your schedule becomes more difficult. This has been the formula of the league forever because Pete Rozelle, the father of the NFL, devised of a formula that would create parity even if there wasn't any.
Mm-hmm.
His goal was to have all these teams kind of bunched together, which is great for the whole league, but it is done a lot of times through the schedule. Like the Jets were bad last year, so this schedule's not awful. They just are. The Panthers were bad last year, so their schedule very negotiable. If they were good.
Still bad.
Yeah, if they were good.
Right.
But they're not.
No.
So the 49ers have a brutal brutal, difficult stretch here. Also seems like the Chiefs have only played good teams.
I know.
It's like, don't you have any days off? I guess they played the Raiders. They play the Raiders this week.
It's so gross to see them be undefeated, and they're not even playing at their best right now.
And they're beating good teams.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing what their record is based on how mediocre for him Patrick Mahomes has been.
Yeah.
Here's what I would say about Mahomes. I don't even know why I prefaced that. Here's what I would say as I'm about to say it. Well, Mahomes hasn't been, if you looked at his numbers, you'd go, well, he hadn't been all that good.
Right.
Yeah, but you get him in the moments where he needs to be good.
He's elite.
Yeah, and he makes the plays.
Right. And that's what counts.
All right, when we come back, we will stretch. We will place bets. I was 2 for 2 yesterday.
Nice.
Yes, I picked a game that isn't getting played till today.
Okay, well, that helps.
Right, yeah. I picked the Panthers and the Rangers game not knowing that the game was today.
Oh,
but the game is
nice.
tonight.
You're just prepping.
I'll refresh everybody's memory on it.
Okay.
But we won twice yesterday. I hope people paid attention. Of course, if you pay attention all the time, probably about 50-50. All right, we'll do all that next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Trust ACT Construction Equipment and Bandit Wood Chippers and Stump Grinders to position your tree service for success. ACT Construction Equipment is your authorized dealer for sales, service, parts, and rentals for Bandit Wood Chippers and Stump Grinders. ACT Construction Equipment has been your authorized dealer for Bandit equipment for over 10 years. Visit one of our 6 North and South Carolina locations or actce.com for more details on Bandit Wood Chippers and Stump Grinders. ACT Construction Equipment, always the right equipment for the job.
Real quick, raise your hand if you want to lose an additional 4 bands a year. Go ahead and put your hands up. Put your hands up. You voted for Kamala Harris. Oh, okay. My fault. Good, because I don't think people understand that voting for Trump means you will lose an additional $4,000 to $5,000 a year. If Trump is elected, he plans to add a 60% tariff on all imports from China. Anything in your house that says made in China, take the price that you paid for and add 60%. He plans to add a 20% tariff on all imports coming from every other country. With Kamala Harris's opportunity economy, she's not hitting you with the sales tax of doom. She's providing tax cuts to the middle and working class, so that means you will save an additional $4,000 to $5,000 a year. Plus the $25,000 she's literally handing to new homebuyers. Like, you know who to vote for in this November's election. It's Kamala Harris. Paid for by FFPAC, ffpac.org. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. FFPAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
As fall championships begin, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling home from today's events. Whether you're driving out of town or across town this holiday season, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. During the busiest time of travel, prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. And remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
The 2024 elections are just around the corner, and older voters are the nation's most active. The AARP North Carolina Voters Guide has information about upcoming election dates, registration deadlines, and voting options in North Carolina, such as voting by mail, early voting, or voting with a disability. Find the guide in the voters section at aarp.org/NC and listen each week to AARP Without Limits for important election news and much more. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Psst. Hello there. It's me, your internal clock. Yes, the one you sleep through on weekends. You've probably heard my TikToks, but I'm straight up sounding the bell now. It's almost time to start applying for college. That means you got transcripts to gather, letters of rec to request, and campus tours to schedule. But hey, we got time, and we've got CFNC. CFNC.org can help us plan, apply, and pay for college. We got this, trust me. Just visit CFNC.org to help us stay on time.
The 2024 Atlantic hurricane season is predicted to be among the most active we've ever experienced. Prepare your home now against power outages of all types with a Generac home standby generator from Alternative Power. After sensing a power outage, a Generac generator automatically restores your home's power, helping protect you and your family. Act now for a free 10-year warranty on a Generac home standby generator. Terms and conditions apply. See more at alternativepower.com. Alternative Power, North Carolina's Generac experts.
Are you struggling with your Medicare drug costs? The NC Department of Insurance SHIP program may be able to help. The Extra Help and Medicare savings programs are available for those who qualify, but you have to apply. Contact SHIP today to see if you qualify. Visit ncshiip.com or call toll-free at 855-408-1212. SHIP provides free, unbiased help in all 100 counties.
Project supported by grants from the Administration for Community Living. Contents do not necessarily represent official views of, nor an endorsement by ACL, HHS, or the U.S. government.
This is Adam Gold.
We had lightning hit a pretty large tree.
Oh, yeah.
About 150 yards from the house. It'll be my sign to go win the lottery. But you know what? I'm sorry, I can't. I have rules. If it's not over $1 billion, I'm not playing.
Yeah, still just millions.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program. She's back. Have you made up with Chip Patterson yet? Have you guys had
I'm trying.
Chance to?
I'm trying. I got to send him some text messages.
Yeah. Figure out what the
Nothing
issue is,
personal. I just had to get my fair fried food. It was a great day to do that.
Totally understand. No rides? Did we go over that?
No, I just, I look at people having fun on them, and I think, it was fun when I did it, but I feel like the older I get, every time I ride one, I'm like, I could die. Like, all it takes is one of these screws to be loose, and I'm donezo.
Do you go and pay the $1 to see the world's largest horse or anything like that?
No.
Do you go to the pig races?
No, none of that. We did do the like ski lift looking thing, so that's about as ridey as I got on that thing because it was a nice day. Your
beautiful.
Feet hurt after a while.
So I
know I'm 1,000.
We used to go to the pig races.
Yeah, I used to watch like the little log racing thing, like all the stuff, but you just have to be in that spot at a specific time, and that place is huge, and I don't know. The food is the objective usually.
Right. I always get lost at the fair.
I know.
I don't know how to find anything.
It doesn't matter how many years I go. I still am like, wait, which way is?
Yeah, I have no idea where that is.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you see something you like and you're like, I should probably try that this year, but you keep walking, forget it. You're done. You're not going to find it again.
Have you ever had the ostrich burger?
No, but it's funny you say that because somebody was talking about that around me and I didn't realize that was an option.
Oh, yeah. There's a big ostrich. You've seen the ostrich, right?
Maybe. I don't know.
It's a giant ostrich.
There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Don't
Is it not worth getting?
No,
no, it's not worth. Okay. Well, that wasn't on my list. So I'll keep it on.
I thought it would be awesome.
Right. You were wrong. Yep. Got to stick with the old faithfuls. What is your old faithful, by the way? I know you said last thing, but it's not last.
At the fair?
Yeah.
Get me a deep fried Oreo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
I know I always want to find other things, and I don't know where they are.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, but I know where those are.
Yeah, exactly.
So give me that. The deep fried Oreos are
getting too
always
expensive
good.
to be disappointed in fried foods too.
So
So
it's been
go
a while
with the
since I've been.
faithfuls.
All right, let's stretch.
Well, speaking of expensive, Shohei Ohtani, remember he hit that milestone of 50-50?
Yes.
Where last month he became the first Major League player to hit 50 home runs and steal 50 bases in a single season.
He did.
Well, that ball that he hit, his 50th,
oh, jeez,
it went up for auction. And it broke another record all by itself because it sold for $4.392 million.
Yep.
So, yeah, which is now the most paid for a baseball or any kind of sports ball in general. So there you go. That's the mark now. It beat the previous record that Mark McGwire had for his 70th home run ball from 1988. That sold for $3 million. So, yeah, that's all you needed if you wanted Ohtani's 50th home run ball. Wow.
Yeah,
what are you going to do with that? I just want to ask the person, like, first of all, what do you do? Second of all, what are you going to do with it?
That ball will get sold again.
Yes.
For a lot more money than $4.3 million.
Right. Got to have money to make money.
No, I mean, I'll be shocked if that ball isn't resold. Maybe not now, but like when he enters the Hall of Fame, I'll bet you that's close to a $10 million ball.
Ooh, man. Well, I'll report back when it gets resold to see how much that sells for. Also, something that you could do because it's spooky season, and I love it. Also, John Breech, who was on the show earlier, he loves spooky season. We talked about it before the interview. Before the interview, he recommended that I also get you pumpkin shoes, like my shoes. But if you are a big fan of Beetlejuice, now Airbnb has added the Beetlejuice home to their Icons program. So you can go to the Dietz home from Beetlejuice, which is a white 2-story house that is draped in black. And fans, you can request to book one of 10 available dates for free. However, it's not an overnight stay. This is only going to be a 3-hour-long stay. It's located in Hillsborough, New Jersey. Don't know where that's at, but that's where it's at. And you could stay there. You could see all the sculptures and the paintings from Delia Dietz, from the afterlife. You can also get a art class from Delia's assistant. So, I mean, it's a whole thing. So if you're a big Beetlejuice fan, I don't know, maybe you'd like to do that. But there's not as many spots, so you should probably do that. You also have to book a flight out there if you're from here. But, that's okay. It's beside the point. It's an option. So who knows? Maybe you can get a little extra coin with our bets.
Place your bets. Place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
All right, so yesterday, we went all in Hornets plus 235 to open the season on the road with a win over Houston.
And they did.
Cha-ching.
Yep.
Should have bet at home. Didn't. And we also had Barcelona beating Bayern in one of the great clashes of European football giants in league phase of the Champions League.
Nice.
And Barca won that match 4-1. I was listening to it on the radio. It was a banger.
Oh.
It was it was all sorts of action. Barca over Bayern. That was also, those plus 150. Barca at home. Had to go for that. I also have the Panthers beating the Rangers and under 6.5, but that game is today, so I haven't won it yet.
It's already, you're just super
but
excited
judging on yesterday, I probably will.
Yeah, well, all of mine are football today, and I have to start out. So the Vikings are taking on the Rams for Thursday Night Football. I have to take Justin Jefferson, not only because he's on my fantasy team, but because he's amazing at touchdowns. So give me him. Now, he's minus 120 for an anytime touchdown. I'm going to go for first touchdown, though, because that's plus 600.
Like it.
Yes.
Like it. But I don't like the Vikings tonight.
Oh, no. Okay.
I like the Rams as an outright winner, plus 120.
Yeah.
So let's just do that, and we'll go under 48.5. And make it a plus 275 game.
Oh, nice. It's very close to another one of mine. Well, I was kind of going the opposite direction. I think Rams total points, could be wrong about this, but I'm going to take the under for the Rams getting a total of 23.5. That's minus 116. You put it in a parlay.
All right. Now, Devils are taking on the Red Wings. I think the Devils are getting Luke Hughes and Brett Pesce back in the lineup. I think we're going to have all sorts of goals in this match. Give me the Devils and over 6.5 plus 185.
And real fast, I'm taking the Vikings and the under 48.5. That's plus 200.
The opposite.
Yeah.
No, I also have under. I got one more. I'll tell you when we come back. Promise.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here for my friend Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary. With mortgage rates having ticked up a bit over the last few weeks, I thought it would be a good time to remind you that it doesn't matter. They're going to come down. So don't let the timing, don't let what the rate is today influence your decision to refinance your home or buy a house, because the rates are going to come down. And according to my man Gordon Miller, who invented the no closing cost mortgage back in 1987, he thinks the rates will be in the 5.5 range next year. 5.5. What are they now? What will they be, according to Gordon? The difference, if you have a $400,000 mortgage between, let's say, 7.5% and 5.5%, $525 a month. Process that. That's why you never pay closing costs. Miller Lending on Kildare Farm Road in Cary since 1996. They are an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 250-2146.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
It's fire sale time for the Panthers. This season is a wash, so go ahead and look at your roster. Pick your untradables. Maybe J.C. Horn, Derek Brown, some of the rookies. Everybody else, put up the for sale sign. Move some closer to the street at the garage sale so everybody knows their price to move. But you have to start thinking about the future. This season's a wash.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
$5, that's some deal, yeah. McDonald's money, I got McDonald's money. One meal just to make me feel better. All I wanna know is, can I get a hot and spicy patty, the McNuggets so crisp, and the fries go to yellow, yeah, McDonald's don't miss, yeah. Order on the app or the drive-thru quick, yeah. $5, that's some deal, yeah. McDonald's money, I got McDonald's money.
At participating McDonald's.
Looking for a powerhouse truck with an unbeatable deal? At Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford, we've got just what you need. Right now, get the 2024 Chevy Silverado 2500 with 3.9% interest for 60 months. Plus, defer your payments for 90 days. That's no payments for 3 months. Plus, get an exclusive $5,500 Wilkinson discount. This is your chance to save big on the heavy-duty truck built to handle it all. Hurry to Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford or visit us online at wilkinsoncars.com.
Hi, it's Jonathan Cotton, and people often ask me, what is the Good Feet store? A shoe store? I respond, we are an arch support store. Haven't you spent enough time trying different shoes and all the disposable products that are supposed to make your feet feel better? Go to goodfeet.com to make your appointment today.
Hi, this is Mike Maniscalco. Do you want to increase the value of your home and decrease the cost of energy bills? If your home needs new windows, siding, doors, and more, look no further than your locally owned Window World, the Triangle's most trusted and America's largest exterior remodeler. A proud sponsor of the Canes, Window World will get your home looking great on the outside while saving on energy costs inside. Search Window World for a free quote today.
As Cybersecurity Awareness Month winds down, LifeLock reminds you to update your software regularly. These updates fix security flaws that could be exploited by identity thieves, but don't stop there. LifeLock offers comprehensive identity theft protection that goes the extra mile. LifeLock not only alerts you to suspicious use of your info, but also takes action to resolve identity theft issues, guaranteed, or your money back. Start your 30-day free trial at lifelock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
This is the Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
You know, his poise, I thought his experience was really evident. He was unmoved and unshaken by the lack of fluidity with the start. But I think that's kind of reflective of a guy that's done it at a high level for over a decade, a guy that's a world champion, a guy that's, 9-10-time Pro Bowler. He's just seen a lot in this game, and that's in his back pocket, just like his throwing abilities. And it gets you in and out of circumstances, certainly.
Mike Tomlin, head coach Pittsburgh Steelers, on his quarterback, Russell Wilson. We're all very excited that we saw good Russell on Sunday night against the Jets. I hope we continue to get that good Russell. Because if we don't, then they probably need to go back to Justin Fields because he could give them something a little extra. But as long as they get good Russell, they don't need great Russell. If they get good Russell Wilson, I think the Steelers are in very good shape. Not only to make a playoff, the playoffs, but also maybe to be somebody's, end. Like a good team, because that defense is great. As long as their defense stays healthy, with some of the pieces, they got Alex Highsmith back. Highsmith had an impactful game against the Jets. T.J. Watt is T.J. Watt. Peyton Wilson, we see what he has been doing in the middle. He's been tremendous. They are so good on that side of the ball. Real quick before we get into the wall of sound, how much? I have two major event ticket prices to pass along. The first I know are not secondary market. I think the second is secondary market. How much would you pay to go to one championship day of the Ryder Cup at Bethpage in New York, where they'll probably sell 30,000 tickets? It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday and Saturday, there are 2 days where there are a total of 8 matches each day. 8 matches? 8 matches each day. And then Sunday, there are 12 singles matches. How much would you pay?
I'm probably a terrible person to ask for
right.
this. But, I could probably see someone who really enjoys it maybe coughing up a couple $100.
Right.
Yeah.
$750.
No, thank you.
Like, the irony of the Ryder Cup ticket price being $750 when it is being played on a public golf course that is called the People's Course
yeah.
is delicious.
The irony.
Unbelievable. $750. But if you want to fork over that money, understand that food and soft drinks are included.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes it better.
So you can make it back in hot dogs and Coke Zeros.
Yes, with a moist towelette and everything.
$750.
What are we doing?
So Bob Nightingale, who covers baseball, used to be with you. He might still be with USA Today. I don't know if they have any writers left other than Dan Wolken and Christine Brennan. He tweeted out the average World Series ticket price.
Ooh.
Now, this must be regular. I went online to Ticketmaster and saw resale prices of upper deck tickets. So, and I can't imagine those would be the original price. So, the average price of a World Series ticket, what do you think? You're a baseball fan.
I am.
Put the Cubs and the, Red Sox.
And this is resale.
This is the average ticket price right now. So I think these are initial tickets.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I saw somebody selling tickets for $400 or $500 for like the worst seat in the whole park.
You can't get within 30 miles of Dodger Stadium.
$1,000? You have to pay $1,000, maybe?
Yes. Average ticket price for Game 1 of the World Series tomorrow night at Dodger Stadium, $1,133.
Yikes. Wow. That's what it costs to go to the fair.
Game 3, first game at Yankee Stadium, $1,547. I went to Ticketmaster, and these are resales. So I don't know if it's like full StubHub or not. But it never occurred to me to see what tickets would be. But let's see, section, let me go to...
The nosebleeders.
All right, I've got I'm going to go to the worst seat.
Mm-hmm.
Top deck, Dodger Stadium. It's behind home plate.
Oh, okay.
$1,056.72 per ticket.
Wow.
Let's go all the way down the left field line. $1,005. Want to sit in the bleachers? $958, really. And that is without fees.
Oh, well, those will get you taxes and fees. Woo! Better sell that kidney.
Yeah. You want to sit in the field level seats? $4,222.
Yikes. I wonder if they have a seat like in Wrigley. There are these pillars that, like, you want to talk about the worst seats to have at a ball field. You can't see nothing.
First time I was in Fenway Park. First time I ever went to Fenway Park, we went to a Yankees-Red Sox game at Fenway. It was the second to last Sunday night of the season, and we saw, I kid you not, Curt Schilling against Roger Clemens. That was the pitching matchup for a Sunday night game. We sat, I mean, I had never been there, so I didn't know. We bought tickets field level.
Mm-hmm.
Not right behind home plate, but in between home plate and the dugout.
Right.
Prices were, like, not exorbitant.
Mm-hmm.
And now I found out why.
Yeah.
When we got there, there's a giant steel girder, like right in front of us.
Right.
Like, wait, oh damn!
No disclaimer, no nothing.
Right.
Even when you zoom in on the seat, like when you're paying for it, they don't show this complete blockage. Nope. Mm-mm.
Right.
You learn the hard way.
It was, yeah. We have gone to two. We've been to Fenway Park 2 other times. We sat in the. I think it was called the Coca-Cola roof deck.
Okay.
Which is like they created all of these things because they were trying to get as many people as they could into a small ballpark. And those were actually really good seats. You could also sit in the Monster at Fenway Park, and those are really good seats because it's just not a big stadium.
Mm-hmm.
It's a small stadium. So as long as you can see the whole thing, that steel girder the first time kind of got in the way.
Yeah, that hurt
as long
me
as
too.
you can see the whole thing, man, it is a unbelievable ballpark. I want to go to Wrigley. I definitely want to go to Wrigley.
Yes,
but I haven't been to Citi Field yet.
Oh,
I'm a Mets fan. I've never been to Citi Field.
You got to do that first, I'm sure.
Doesn't make any sense at all. All right, Wall of Sound.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
All right, let's get right to it. Dave Canales yesterday met the media to announce what they probably kind of guessed. Andy Dalton kind of had his thumb a little wrapped up. Andy will not play. It'll be Bryce.
First of all, I'm sure you've heard Andy Dalton was in a car accident yesterday with his family, with JJ and the kids. And a scary moment for sure. Everyone was okay. Everyone was healthy. Unfortunately, in the accident, he did sprain his thumb. So Bryce will be playing this week for us, and we'll be evaluating Andy day to day going into this weekend to see if we can get him up as the 2 on game day. So let the team know really just right now coming off the field. They all kind of saw, but I wanted them to have the official, just report the official news about what our plan is going for this weekend.
I am curious if you can get Andy to the point where he could play. Why doesn't he play?
Yeah.
I mean, whatever.
So many question marks with this team.
I just don't understand sometimes. All right, Bryce Young, how have you been able to prepare since you have been the number 2?
I try to work to be better every single day, and I always want to grow. Again, obviously, it's the weeks of watching film and going through obviously different experiences. Again, it's the same day-to-day growth, same day-to-day grind I've been on for a majority of my life. So again, I'm grateful for where I'm at, and then just focus on continuing to grow.
It's inspiring. All right, what about, has Dave Canales talked to you about beyond this week?
No, that's nothing that has been discussed, and again, that's stuff that's him in the front office, and they make that decision. So that's.
Do you view it in that lens at all?
I don't view anything in any sort of lens. Again, the stuff that's out of my control is out of my control. So I just want to help the team win. We all have the same goals, and do everything I can to contribute to that.
Joe Person, who, by the way, will join us in just a moment. He asked the follow-up question there. I want there to be more. I want there to be more from Bryce. But maybe it'll be the other way, that the confidence will come with success as opposed to the success breeding from his confidence. I don't know. I just want more. I wonder, because I don't remember a lot of Bryce and the media other than after wins at Alabama, right? I don't remember a lot of Bryce because, to me, these are on the margins about who do you draft. These are deal breakers to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. It's very possible. All right, a couple of more quick things. From Unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio, we've talked about the situation with the Jets. Aaron Rodgers, I said this the other day, I said it today. If Aaron Rodgers were 75% of the last healthy Aaron Rodgers season, not last year because he didn't have one, the year before he had a fractured thumb on his throwing hand the last several weeks, so he just could not put enough on the football to be the same quarterback. But the previous year, he won the MVP. And the year before that, he won the MVP. 75% of that Aaron Rodgers has the Jets easily in a playoff. But we are not seeing that. Chris Canty from Unsportsmanlike goes a little further.
The last couple of years in Green Bay, we suspected that Aaron Rodgers could be a little bit toxic, especially with a young team. I had no idea that it would be this bad. This guy is like a cancer that is metastasized within the New York Jets organization. And I don't know how they fix it.
That's harsh. I don't know that that's true. I really don't.
Yeah.
But that's harsh.
It is.
Rodgers can be polarizing for sure. By the way, Davante Adams lit into the team after the game, apparently, in Pittsburgh.
Wow.
Adams, who had been there for 8 seconds.
All of 2 seconds, yeah.
And caught one pass.
Wow.
Just ripped the team.
Wow.
After the game.
Maybe he forgot that he wasn't still with the Raiders.
Well, and Rodgers said I've never seen anything like that.
Wow.
So, whatever. I don't care. Let him.
Let him do it. I just wouldn't be comfortable. Like, I guess for me, being a newbie, I wouldn't feel comfortable to do that with my new teammates.
If you read the comments from Adams, he said, I wasn't sure I should.
Yeah.
He said, but I saw too many things I didn't like, so I felt like I wouldn't have been able to sleep if I didn't say something.
But is it your play? I don't know. It's just
They brought him in.
They did.
He said, we don't have time. We don't have time to get to know each other.
Yeah.
So let's go.
That is true.
Hey, good for I don't know. Good for Davante Adams. All right, one more thing. We were talking about this with John Breech about the 49ers and the Cowboys. And they play this week. And they are both basically in the same position. It's now or it's not going to happen. He thinks the 49ers have a better long-term outlook.
I'm going to say the 49ers in the sense of they've been on the doorstep the last few years. Now, to your point, a few years down the line, it's going to be a reset because you can't continue to pay all of these guys. Brock Purdy, once you pay him, it changes kind of the roster around him, especially on offense. I just look at the Dallas Cowboys, and it's just like, where do you go from here? The owner's talking about our offense didn't fit a guy like Derrick Henry. We couldn't afford him, and all of these different things. I don't know what's going to change with the Cowboys of what we've seen in the last 30 years. So it's continued to be chaos. I don't see why in the next 3 years to 5 years is not going to continue to be that way.
So remember when I said, here's what winning the division gets you? It gets you a hard schedule. So Dallas opened up with the Browns on the road and the Saints. Saints don't have a good record now, but
but they came out hot.
They came out hot, and they're very hurt.
Mm-hmm.
They're without their quarterback, so I think the Saints are going to look like a bad team, even though they're probably not a bad team. Either way, they played the Ravens. They played the Steelers. They played the Lions already, right? We're talking about 3 playoff teams. And I don't know, maybe the Ravens and the Lions will meet in the Super Bowl. They're at the 49ers this week. They're at the Falcons. Falcons aren't great, but it's on the road, right? They're home against the Eagles. They're home against the Texans. And then they're at the Commanders. That's the Cowboys' next 5 games. At San Francisco, at Atlanta, home against the Eagles, home against the Texans, at the Commanders. I mean, good luck.
Yeah, they're going to need it.
Good luck. After that, home against the Giants and Bengals. They have a bye week when they play Carolina, in Carolina. I kid. Not really. I don't kid.
Sort of, kind of.
Home against the Buccaneers, then at the Eagles to finish. It doesn't look rosy for Dallas. So what happens when you finish first?
Exactly.
When you finish first in not in a bad division, because the Eagles did fall apart last year.
But Derrick Henry wasn't worth getting either. So there's that.
Talked about this yesterday. Jerry Jones was partially right. And that might have been 2 days ago. He's partially right that Derrick Henry might not have been doing the same things he is doing in Baltimore with the Cowboys. Baltimore's offensive line is better. Baltimore's offense and their offensive structure is better, mostly because Mike McCarthy is running Dallas's. And also the threat of Lamar Jackson, even though he doesn't run it a ton on designed runs from scrimmage, you best be aware. And Dak Prescott really doesn't do a lot of running anymore. He does scrambling, but they're not designing a lot of runs for Dak, and you're not going to game plan for that. So it wouldn't be having the same type of year. But the other part of what Jerry Jones, his comments about Derrick Henry are bogus, because he says, we have a salary cap to deal with. Yeah, I know you do.
Right.
And you intentionally sabotaged that salary cap.
You did.
By waiting a year to do Dak and CeeDee Lamb when you could have done both last year. But, hey, you're the genius.
Mm-hmm.
You have decided that waiting longer is beneficial to you when it's the opposite.
You played with your Legos and didn't put them away at night and stepped on them when you had to get up in the middle of the night. So
That's
there
worse
you
than
go.
the salary cap.
It is.
All right, when we come back, Joe Person from The Athletic on the return of Bryce. Next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and do you have a late-night craving for in-depth analysis on the Carolina Hurricanes and their latest game, their latest win, their pursuit of the Stanley Cup? Well, I can quench your thirst. I can feed that appetite on the Canes Corner podcast, the morning after edition, which drops the morning after every Hurricanes game. Get it wherever you get your podcast. Brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina.
The NBA is back, people. The association has arrived, and it's time to have a good time, and it's time to check out the entire league. FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, wants you to stay up to date on all the action. And right now, because you know me, FanDuel is giving all users 3 months of NBA League Pass. All you've got to do, place any $5 wager on the NBA. If you took my advice yesterday with the Hornets winning in Houston, you not only won money, but you got 3 months of NBA League Pass free. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. After a 3-month free trial, the full price of League Pass will be automatically charged monthly. Cancel anytime. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
It's bow time. It's not just football season. It's tailgate season, and that includes every kind of football, whether it's got goalkeepers or goalposts. The kick is good! Because it doesn't matter where or how you tailgate. When you've got crispy chicken and fluffy buttermilk biscuits from Bojangles, your tailgate is better than great. It's legendary. Head to Bojangles and order your tailgate box with boldly seasoned chicken, fixins, biscuits, and legendary iced tea today. It's Bo time.
Planning a tailgate? Then it's Bo time. Bojangles has everything you need for the perfect tailgate, no matter how many fans you're trying to feed. There's the original tailgate, the super tailgate, and for a really big crowd, the jumbo tailgate special. And if you like your chicken off the bone, choose the Supreme's tailgate special that includes 12 perfectly seasoned tenderloin fillets. So grab the tickets, get that Bojangles tailgate special, and go. It's Bo time.
Veterans, you've served our country. Now it's time to serve your future. Why carry the weight of high-interest debt when you can use your home's equity to wipe it out before January? Hey, it's Dennis Cox from my friends at Loan Pronto. If you're a veteran, Loan Pronto's VA Equity Advantage program lets you access 100% of your home's equity, so you can pay off high-interest credit cards, car loans, and more. Imagine pulling out tens or even hundreds of thousands with no junk fees and no hassle, and locking in an APR in the fives. Most veterans using Loan Pronto save over $800 a month. Plus, if you're stuck with a high mortgage rate, ask about our VA Streamline Refi with no income verification and no appraisal required. Loan Pronto is committed to honoring your service. Call now and take control of your financial future before the new year begins. Call 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Progressive presents good news, bad news, dumb news, then great news. Good news. Your coworker Kyle said bundling home and auto insurance with Progressive could save you money. Bad news. While saying this, Kyle was eating your clearly labeled lunch. Dumb news. Pizza near work costs $7 a slice, and it tastes like drywall covered in ketchup. Great news. You decide to see if you could save money bundling at Progressive.com and enjoy more lunches far away from Kyle. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
This is Adam Gold.
And I did have to use two screens at one point, or a couple of points, and I don't like it. I can't watch two games at the same time.
There's a lot going on.
I'm sorry. I'm incapable of doing that. Because there were times where, I forgot this other game was on in front of me.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
A man who is always great for at least 3 periods, maybe more. The Athletics Carolina Panthers beat writer, the one and only Joe Person at Joseph Person on Twitter. He joins us. It's Bryce Young Day. How about that? He gets to start again, Joe.
Yeah, how about that? Not probably in the way anyone imagined.
No.
From Bryce to Dave Canales to Bryce's agent. And, it's just sort of another candle in the cake of what has been a pretty crazy Panther season. Even finally, Dave Canales, the always upbeat Dave Canales, yesterday conceded. The question was, have you ever been through a season like this? And he finally said, you know what? No, I haven't. And I don't know that it's the weirdest. In fact, I'm certain it's not the weirdest, wackiest season of the Panthers I've ever covered, but it's starting to at least get in the conversation.
Joe Person is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. I've talked a lot about the way Dave handles it's really more post-game situations than anything else. It's almost like he's trying to protect the confidence and the psyches of these grown men professional football players when he shouldn't have to. Like, his fans don't want to hear about, we had a great week of practice after getting absolutely clowned by the Washington Commanders' second-string quarterback. And I just found the post-game coming out of that just absolutely, like, you completely missed the mark. Fans wanted to hear that you were mad, that you were frustrated, that you couldn't believe how bad it was, and we had a great week of practice. Do you think some of that is wearing on him too?
Yeah, I think fans are getting a little frustrated with that, and I think you and I have talked about this, Adam, but a lot of that is the Pete Carroll effect and the Pete Carroll influence, and obviously the difference being is Pete Carroll won a lot of football games with the Seattle Seahawks. And so if Pete was Mr. Jolly and, rainbows and unicorns, at least he could fall back on the Legion of Doom secondary and all those, NFC West titles and what should have been 2 Super Bowl championships, Lombardi trophies in a row. Obviously, there's no stock built up yet for Dave Canales. And so, I think sometimes that does ring a little hollow. But I don't know. We have said the main day-to-day reporting group has said, what's he going to be like if this season continues down this path that it seemingly is headed toward? And I don't know. He's still, again, even yesterday with that admission about this being a weird season, that was still pretty tame. Ron Rivera, as nice a human being as Ron Rivera is, he would sometimes just reach his limit and blow up in those press. I think fans want to see that. And by the way, I think a lot of them want to see it out of Bryce Young, too.
Yes. There is a similarity between their emotions, between how they present themselves, that you would think they would be more in sync as a tandem. Hasn't yet worked out. I am curious. You said that nobody expected this, and you mentioned Bryce's agent. Are we do I read anything into that? Has there been push for from the agent side for maybe an exit from Carolina?
No, I don't think it's gotten to that point yet. I was just sort of talking in general, but yeah, certainly it's something to keep an eye on, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Bryce Young has a career and a reputation of his own to keep in mind. And listen, I'm not saying that I'm not excusing a season +2 of mostly bad football from Bryce Young. I mean, let's be clear.
Right.
And so I think that is going to hurt any potential trade, first and foremost.
Sure.
Who wants him? Would anyone want him as a starter? It's hard to imagine, short of just an injury or two at someone's quarterback position. But we're at we're 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks now away from the trade deadline. I think that the Panthers are going to ask for a lot, and a lot of that's for optics because of what they gave up for Bryce Young. I don't think they can. I think it would be a really hard sell to the public and the sponsors and everyone else if they get, a conditional 5th round pick for Bryce Young after giving up the farm. And so I do think they'll be active over the next 12 days. I think, Deontay Johnson makes a whole lot of sense to and I know people are like, well, he's the only good receiver we have. Well, yeah, so what? I mean, so that's even almost more reason to get what you can get and maximize. We've already seen a lot of receivers go off the board. I mean, we know what his market likely the asking price will be, somewhere in that conditional 4th range, I would think.
Right.
And I think he's their most valuable chip. I mean, they're not going to trade Chuba Hubbard. They probably will try to trade Miles Sanders. But anyway, and if they get killed again at Denver, I would. If I'm Dan Morgan, I'm making just about everyone but a handful of guys. I mean, I'd put a tag or a price tag and ask people to make me an offer on Jadeveon Clowney.
Yep.
Because why do you need an edge and 30-year-old edge rusher on a potentially 2-15 team?
Joe Person from The Athletic. You read my mind with all of these things. I actually said a few weeks ago that I would make a list of every asset that I had, and I would put it come on, come shopping. The doors are open. A Black Friday special. Make me an offer for anything. I would include J.C. Horn in that, but I get very militant about these things. I would make everybody available. You and I have talked enough about. I would have been trading Brian Burns 2 years ago. You and I talked about that. The only player I wouldn't have traded going even into this year was Derek Brown, because when you can find a defensive lineman of his quality, that's the guy you keep. But now he's hurt, and the value wouldn't be worth trading anyway for somebody who's not going to play this year. But everybody else on my team, and I absolutely mean that, would be available in a trade. Joe Person from The Athletic is joining us here in the Adam Gold Show. Does it change at all, though, if Bryce Young plays relatively well against Denver? If Bryce has a good game, and for a lot of people are rolling their eyes going, what do you mean if he has a good game? He's not going to have a good game. Probably not. But if he does it change their approach at the deadline?
Yeah, there's a fascinating question, and really the whole storyline to me is pretty intriguing because, as you said, Denver defense, I mean, they're third in the league overall. They're fifth against the pass. Yep. Vance Joseph has done a terrific job. It's going to be tough sledding. Like, they will make you earn every yard, and that would not seem to portend well for Bryce Young. But if he plays well, to me, here's a more interesting scenario. Or not that your question wasn't interesting.
That's fine.
But I'm dovetailing. If Bryce plays okay, and the defense happens to – the Denver Broncos – the Broncos offense is not a juggernaut.
No.
Bo Nix has not done some nice things, mostly with his legs, keeping plays alive. But let's say Jadeveon Clowney's back this week, Josie Jewell's back. And the defense plays well, and the Panthers win with a middling performance by Bryce Young. Then what does Dave Canales do, assuming Andy Dalton is healthy next week? Like, that is fascinating. And if he goes, I think if they win, you got to keep Bryce in the lineup regardless of how he plays. But if Canales does not, if we need any more proof that Dave Canales is not on the Bryce Young bandwagon, that will be it. And get ready for the trade deadline talk. Even if it doesn't happen at the deadline, it's going to be happening in that scenario.
Yeah, there is nothing that Dave Canales can do short of declaring Bryce Young his starting quarterback for the rest of his tenure as head coach that will convince me that he wants Bryce Young to be the quarterback, because he refused to answer any of your questions. We kept playing the follow-ups. He refuses to answer any questions about Bryce Young. The opportunity after Andy was really no good in the first half in Washington, and it was 27-0, to not even consider Bryce starting the second half would have been a great opportunity to get him, 4 or 5 series as opposed to the one. I mean, we didn't even try to pick up a first down series at the end of the game. I thought that was appalling, but to me it just cemented what I thought is that Dave Canales doesn't want Bryce Young to be his quarterback, and that Andy Dalton would be the quarterback if he could grip the football.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and I think all of us, in retrospect, and I'm raising my own hand,
right?
If we had the narrative of quarterback whisperer, and Dave Canales was hired to fix Bryce Young,
right?
I mean, that lasted 2 games.
Yeah,
that is nuts.
And he was worse this year than he was last year.
I know. And it was just, I don't know if it was self-preservation on the part of Dave Canales. And listen, even prior to Dave Canales, there were people in the building that really were hoping to hire Brian Callahan before he went to Tennessee, and the Titans didn't let him leave the building. Well, he could have left the building if he had a better feeling, presumably, about Bryce Young than he did Will Levis.
Levis.
So we're getting into a whole nother conversation. But the point being is, Dave Canales, yes, he said the right things upon getting here. He had the track record turning around quarterbacks who had been struggling. But he was not part of those decisions. He wasn't part of the team that flew to every quarterback pro day, from C.J. Stroud to Levis to Bryce to Anthony Richardson. None of it. And so the closest tie he has to Bryce Young is through Dan Morgan, because Dan was here and he was the assistant GM under Fitterer. But Yeah. I mean, short of like a pretty just remarkable stretch of football from Bryce Young, which we haven't seen to this point,
right,
but we saw in college. Short of that, I can't imagine he's got a long future in Charlotte.
Joe Person. That's why you win awards. At Joseph Person on Twitter from The Athletic, covers the Panthers. Thank you very much. Enjoy the 15 minutes or so that you get to watch practice today, and I'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it, man. Have a good week.
You too. Joe Person here from The Athletic on the Adam Gold Show. All right, when we come back, Lee Sterling will help us predict the weekend and maybe get ahead of the monthly obligations. And I still owe you a pick for today.
That's right.
And I have it.
Ooh.
I have it, and I'm feeling great about it. Yeah, we have an ACC football game tonight.
That's true.
Syracuse is at Pitt. For those people who go, wait a second, is that an ACC game or a Big East game?
I know.
It is old school Big East football. Syracuse at Pitt. Should be a sneaky good football game if you are inclined. But we'll hit that, and I'll give you my pick. Sure to hit. Next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The NBA is back, and FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, wants you to catch all the action. Adam Gold here, and right now FanDuel is giving all users 3 months of NBA League Pass. All you have to do to catch every tip-off and buzzer beater is place any $5 bet on the NBA. You don't even have to win it. So check it out. You can bet the Knicks to win, or you can bet the Knicks to lose. It doesn't matter. They'll probably do both. Go to FanDuel. Just visit FanDuel.com/AGS. Get 3 months of NBA League Pass courtesy of FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. After 3-month free trial, the full price of League Pass will be automatically charged monthly. Cancel anytime. No refunds. Terms, restrictions, and embargoes apply. Limit 1 pass per customer. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.com.
My name's Kate Roper, and I live in Leicester, North Carolina. In September of 2023, I had a tumor removed from my left ear, and I just enrolled in NC Medicaid. It was just such a relief knowing that now that I'm covered by NC Medicaid, I don't have to worry about how I'm going to pay for medical treatment now. It's probably saving my life.
See if you qualify at medicaid.nc.gov.
When the power goes out, your life is disrupted. Heat, air conditioning, refrigeration, phones, all gone. Be prepared for the next outage with a Generac home standby generator. After sensing a power outage, a Generac generator automatically restores your home's power. Whether you're home or away, power your life with a Generac home standby generator. Act now for a free 10-year warranty on a Generac home standby generator. Terms and conditions apply. See more at alternativepower.com. Alternative Power, North Carolina's Generac experts.
Real quick, raise your hand if you want to lose an additional 4 bands a year. Go ahead and put your hands up. Put your hands up. You voted for Kamala Harris. Oh, okay. My fault. Good, because I don't think people understand that voting for Trump means you will lose an additional $4,000 to $5,000 a year. If Trump is elected, he plans to add a 60% tariff on all imports from China. Anything in your house that says made in China, take the price that you paid for and add 60%. He plans to add a 20% tariff on all imports coming from every other country. With Kamala Harris's opportunity economy, she's not hitting you with the sales tax of doom. She's providing tax cuts to the middle and working class, so that means you will save an additional $4,000 to $5,000 a year. Plus the $25,000 she's literally handing to new homebuyers. Like, you know who to vote for in this November's election. It's Kamala Harris. Paid for by FFPAC, ffpac.org. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. FFPAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
The 2024 elections are just around the corner, and older voters are the nation's most active. The AARP North Carolina Voters Guide has information about upcoming election dates, registration deadlines, and voting options in North Carolina, such as voting by mail, early voting, or voting with a disability. Find the guide in the voters section at aarp.org/NC and listen each week to AARP Without Limits for important election news and much more. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
As fall championships begin, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling home from today's events. Whether you're driving out of town or across town this holiday season, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. During the busiest time of travel, prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. And remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
This is Adam Gold.
Victoria, you played sports in high school, right?
Oh, yeah. Basketball, and I swam.
Could you imagine competing for $1 million?
No.
$1 million.
No. I competed for plastic trophies.
I was also a high school athlete, baseball player. No, and I could never even imagine it.
No.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program. Lee Sterling will join us in about, 4 minutes. So we'll get to Lee. We'll get his take on the weekend ahead. But I owe you a selection.
Yes.
All right. So it's a bonus one that we didn't have time for earlier. Yesterday, I thought that the Hornets would start the season with a win in Houston. They did. Today, I'm telling the world that I think the San Jose Sharks will get their first win of the year tonight.
Do you?
In Los Angeles against the Kings. And the Sharks are plus 255.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. Although I think they don't have Macklin Celebrini, right? I think he's hurt. So maybe they won't. But anyway, that's it just jumped off the page at me.
I know.
It just
I don't
did.
know about these
Actually, not the
Sharkies.
page. It's not a page. It was a screen. It jumped off the screen at me. All right. So we've got multiple football games for you tonight. You've got the Vikings playing at the Rams. Minnesota coming off their first loss of the season at home to Detroit. The Rams are trying to figure it out. They might be trading a lot of players. Heck, there was even a mention that they should trade Matthew Stafford. I don't see the Rams ever trading Matthew Stafford. They could trade Cooper Kupp, but I don't see him trading Matthew Stafford. So there's that. Also, you've got the Syracuse playing at Pitt. We talked earlier about the college football playoff. I am not suggesting for a minute that Pitt is a contender for the college football playoff, but they are also undefeated. I asked this of Chip Patterson yesterday after he was done explaining the blood feud with Victoria.
I know. Seriously, it's a true story. He thinks that there's, I'm dodging him.
Yeah.
But I just like
Ducking.
Wednesdays off.
You were ducking him, I think is what he
Yeah.
said. But I asked him, why isn't Pittsburgh getting the same respect that Indiana is getting? Part of it has to do with margin of victory. Indiana's putting up a ton of points. But Pittsburgh's probably played the more difficult schedule. They're both undefeated. Well, we'll see if Pittsburgh can stay that way tonight against Syracuse. That will not be an easy one. Syracuse is a capable football team. And if we agree that Pitt isn't really great, and they're not, you can lose to anybody. Speaking of losing to anybody, we haven't mentioned it. I think Brett McMurphy sort of glossed over it when we were talking to him earlier. Liberty went to Kennesaw State last night, as 27-point road favorites and lost. Kennesaw State. I don't even know what their nickname is. There could be the Kennesaw State Chainsaws, for all I know, which is would be an interesting nickname. Kennesaw State beat Liberty last night. I think it was 27-24 was the final. So we can eliminate Liberty from being in the college football playoff, since nobody who has ever, this is a fact, nobody who has ever lost to Kennesaw State made the playoff in that year. I am confident in saying that, even though I don't know it to be a complete fact. That was a fairly stunning result. I have no idea if Lee Sterling had Kennesaw State. As an old baseball fan, they could be the Kennesaw State Mountains. Get it? Kennesaw Mountain. Never mind. Nobody really understands the joke. Lee Sterling might. Paramount Sports. He joins us every Thursday. All right, let's start with some. First of all, I know you. I don't think you had it for on the sheet tonight.
No,
we do have a college football game tonight. We have Syracuse and Pitt. Panthers are undefeated. It's a very small margin that Vegas sees. Do you have a off the cuff thought on this?
Yeah, I have a small lean here to Syracuse. I think their passing game is really good here. Top 30 in expected pass attempt yardage per play. Also, top 15 in third and fourth down success rate. Pitt's good. I mean, what's crazy is Pat Narduzzi finally kind of let his hair down. Defensive coach, throwing the football now on offense, averaging 297 yards per game with Eli Holstein. But their defense also 120th in expected yards per play allowed. I think this goes down to the wire. I think Pitt will win the game 35-34, but I'll take Syracuse in the 5.5.
All right, let's get to the local. North Carolina and Virginia. This has been a matchup that has traditionally gotten in North Carolina's way, especially when the game is played in Charlottesville. Thoughts?
I just think that this North Carolina team's in disarray. I mean, how they allowed in a tie game a 75-yard touchdown run by Georgia Tech to lose the game goes down as one of the all-time classics in defensive futility. You can pretty much run whatever you want against this North Carolina team. I think that Mac Brown will step down or get fired at the end of the year. I think they're playing out the string here, and this might be the last game that UVA is going to be favored in. I mean, if you look at the rest of their schedule, I think Calandra bounces back from a tough game last week. I like Virginia here, 28-20.
Yeah, what you say is an inexplicable way to end a football game, a walk-off 70, 68, or whatever it was, touchdown run.
Backup quarterback, no less.
Right, with they were not even trying to win.
Right.
They were trying to get the game to overtime. I call that staying on brand for North Carolina. SMU is at Duke. I mean, this is a sneaky, big-time conference matchup because the Blue Devils have just one ACC loss. SMU is obviously a very good team. Their only loss is to BYU, and if the Ponies can figure out a way to get through this season unscathed, we're going to have a three-way zero-loss ACC championship conversation. Thoughts on this?
Everyone's talking about Miami and Clemson. Like it's a foregone conclusion they're going to play for the ACC championship. Well, Pitt and SMU are undefeated in conference, and SMU made a change of quarterback has certainly helped them, but they're going to face a defense in Duke not giving up more than 24 points in any game this year. Duke also 15-2. 15-2 the last 3 years at home. Third straight road game for SMU. You give me the better defense as a home underdog, I'm taking it. SMU escapes 23-16 Duke covers.
Yeah, the Blue Devils defense, man, they get in the backfield. They cause problems. If they can establish...
That's Manny Diaz. That's what he's all about.
No question. If they can establish a running game early, that would be really, really cool. Oh, let me get to the NFL. The Panthers started the week. We thought it would be Andy Dalton.
Yep.
Now we know it will be Bryce Young. Last I saw it was 9 or 9.5. I don't know what it started at, but I mean, if you've watched Bryce Young play this year, you can't have a lot of confidence about the Panthers going on the road to Denver.
No, I mean, the Panthers are achieving the near impossible. They're worse than last year, and they went 2-15 last year. They're down nearly all their best defensive players due to injuries. The Panthers are giving up 37 points per game the last 7 games. Friends don't let friends go to Panthers games or even bet on them. Denver big here. Best thing about Denver is at least their coaching staff realizes what plays not to call for Bo Nix. Denver 27-10.
You gave us two great lines there. Achieving the near impossible, and friends don't let friends bet on Panthers games. That is fantastic. All right, in the division, Atlanta and Tampa Bay. Does Tampa have any wide receivers left?
Nothing. I mean, when you lose both receivers, and then Baker Mayfield, who was red hot, now all of a sudden he's throwing into traffic, he's forcing things. Baker Mayfield can be great, and he can be awful. This is a tough matchup coming off that Monday night loss here. Atlanta, they were in a bad spot last week. They'd won 3 straight division games playing a team they weren't familiar with. Seattle had their best game by far. Atlanta bounces back 28-20.
All right, now let me clear out and let. Are you and Victoria going to go head to head?
We're going to make a selection here.
All right, let's go. We'll put up your
ahead,
dukes.
Victoria.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start with the co-main event. So we've got Robert Whitaker versus Hamzat Chimaev.
Who?
So, yeah, I know, right? He's fantastic, Chimaev. He is undefeated right now. Robert Whitaker, obviously, he is a vet of the game. It's hard to go against him. He's fought a couple really big fights this year, and he's won those. He likes to knock out or go by decision. However, Chimaev, he is undefeated and ridiculous. I feel like he's at his peak right now. He mostly wins by submission, so I'm kind of leaning towards him winning by submission, but these two are straight dogs. I'm still thinking that Chimaev's going to win this one, but I could actually see it go to decision. So I'm going to pick him by the points because that's plus 650.
Okay.
All right.
I'm going to go with Jeff Neal. So Jeff Neal's fighting Rafael Dos Anjos, who's been around a long, long time. Jeff Neal, I just think, has more weapons here. We like to call more tools in the toolbox. Rafael Dos Anjos seems to be at a crossroad. He's just not at this level here. And I think that the cardio of Jeff Neal is going to pay off here. I'm going to lay it here, minus 280, Jeff Neal over Rafael Dos Anjos.
All right.
It's funny, that was actually the other one I was looking at, too, because both of these guys haven't gotten a win in the last 2 years.
Yep.
But Neal, it looks like he's trying to turn things around, and he's got a huge reach advantage.
Yep.
If I haven't won a UFC fight in 2 years, I'm retiring. Why would...
Well, the good thing is they only fight usually 2 to 3 times a year.
Still, if I'm on a 4-match losing streak, I'm out.
Dos Anjos might be done after this one.
Lee
if he
Sterling
does.
at Paramount Sports on Twitter. Thank you so much, man. We'll talk again next week.
Okay, sounds good. Take care, everyone. Be safe.
I mean, there's no way I'm fighting again.
I know.
I haven't won a match in 2 years.
I know.
Get out of here.
Yeah, it's not great.
Just get out of here. By the way,
great.
Robert Whitaker, when you said Robert Whitaker, to me that sounds like a network news anchor.
It does, yeah.
Against, and I couldn't understand who's the guy he's fighting.
Hamzat Chimaev.
Of course.
Yes, that one.
The disparity of names there is the great disparity in the history of that sport.
I can say fighters' names. You can say the football people's names with the feet.
Sometimes. Oh, yes, I absolutely can. By the way, excited for this upcoming weekend. I might have to work it in tomorrow.
Oh.
Liverpool Arsenal on Sunday.
Sounds big.
Woo! Yeah, if there's anybody healthy to play it. Arsenal's more banged up than Liverpool. But my God, I am fired up for that one on the weekend. Or as they say, at the weekend.
Oh.
That's what they say.
Okay.
They say at the weekend. No, but it's a huge match. Arsenal, it's too early to have any must-win matches in any sport, really. But in the Premier League, and you play 38, it's kind of too early to have a must-win match. But Arsenal is already four points in arrears at the top. So Liverpool right now sitting pretty.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, very nice.
I know. Isn't the household divided too with those teams? Are
no,
those the teams?
Not Arsenal. No,
okay.
It's Manchester United.
Okay.
My son is a Man U fan, but he wants his team to lose, so they'll fire the coach.
Okay, there you go.
He's already done with Eric Ten Hag. And my wife, because Robert Plant is a part of a board member with Wolverhampton.
Yes.
The club that he grew up supporting. She's a Wolves fan, and they have 1 point from 8 matches.
That doesn't sound good.
No, it is not good. 1 point. They are joint bottom of the table.
So they're the Panthers of the football with the feet?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. They've played much better. They probably should have gotten a point against Man City this past weekend. They played much better. The Panthers are, objectively playing like the worst team in the league.
Right.
We didn't have time to do it today, but when we do it tomorrow, when I give you top 5, bottom 5, yeah, number 32 are the Panthers, or is the Panthers. I don't really know how to say that. Victoria, thank you very much. Enjoy all your sports tonight.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here from my man, Coach Pete D'Arruda, Capital Financial Advisory Group in Apex. That's right, they're in Apex. He is nationally renowned for his ability to help people plan for retirement, but he is right here in our backyard. Let's take advantage. Are you ready to retire? Do you even know if you can retire? Well, let's find out. 888-843-0013. He's the best in the business at retirement planning. 888-843-0013. Or you can text Adam to 600-700, and we're going to get you a total customized retirement plan that you will be able to have and plan for your retirement better than you could anywhere else. Coach Pete D'Arruda. By the way, that's a $1,000 value to other people, but because you know me, we're going to get it to you for free. That's right, free. Total customized retirement plan. Coach Pete D'Arruda, 888-843-0013, and retire on your terms.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Don.